Chapter 789. As a result, those who originally wanted to stay in the Tsin family's hotel stayed in the Xiao family's hotel, because there were no more rooms available. Originally, it wasn't a tourist season after the new year, so the hotel occupancy rate was only about 50%. But now, because of the Tsin family, it was close to 100%. This meant that after deducting the Tsin family's 10% discount, it was still equivalent to the Xiao family's 10% discount. Not only was the income much higher than usual, but it also made the Tsin family's hotel suffer a loss. It was just that the Tsin family hadn't discovered this problem yet. The assistant in charge of the hotel was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth when he saw that the hotels were full and that many membership cards had been applied. In fact, for ordinary people, even if they had a 10% discount annual membership card, they might not stay here every day. Who would be so free to stay in the hotel all day? Even if it was a 10% discount, it would still cost money, right? Therefore, according to the probability calculation, the real card holders would use it dozens of times a year. Who would have thought that these card holders were all disguised waiters of the Xiao family's hotel? Xin Jiajin looked at the report in his hand and instantly felt that he was going to completely dominate the Songning shopping mall. It was the same for several other industries. As long as he had a promotion or discount, Emperor Xia would send people to deal with it. Emperor Xia was also a little speechless about this kind of opponent. Acting recklessly without considering the consequences and costs, it actually benefited the Xiao family. As for the store, it soon became difficult to make ends meet. After all, the inventory of the manufacturer's agent was also limited. After being delivered, it was sold out. After a few rounds, the inventory was also gone. Even if they urgently transferred the goods from the manufacturer, it couldn't be done in a day. Without a choice, the emptied Tsin family's store could only be closed first, and the previously deserted Xiao family's store became popular again. Although they were all normal activities, such as a free laundry detergent for 200 yuan and a free napkin for 300 yuan, they were still more discounted than usual. Therefore, many customers went to the Xiao family's store after seeing that the Tsin family's store was closed. They didn't want to waste their trip and went to the Xiao family's store. Most of the goods in the Xiao family's store were bought from the Tsin family's store at a low price. Even if there was a promotion, they still made a lot of money. The number of customers was more than double than usual. Sun Wuming happily showed Xiao Chen the good news his father was sending him on WeChat. "Are you out of your mind? What does this have to do with me?" Xiao Chen said angrily, "Don't disturb my class. If you keep talking, I'll throw you out." Fine, I'll tell you what. We're in a classroom, and I don't want to fight. But just you wait. I'll let you have a good time when your Xiao family is destroyed tomorrow." Sun Wuming sneered. It was not that he did not dare to fight Xiao Chen, but he was not sure of Xiao Chen's strength. After all, he was only a martial artist with stage 8 inner force. If Xiao Chen was on par with him, he might not have the upper hand in a fight. Therefore, he planned to find a chance to ask Zheng Xiaoquan about Xiao Chen's strength, but he was embarrassed to ask in front of Xiao Chen. It seemed like he was afraid of Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen did not pay attention to Sun Wuming until school ended at noon. Sun Wuming proudly pointed at Zheng Xiaoquan and said, "Let's go. Let's have a meal to celebrate. Today, the Tsin family's business will enter Songning and suppress the Xiao family." At noon, Xiao Chen wanted to find Zheng Xiaoquan to ask about the situation, but Sun Wuming called Zheng Xiaoquan away first. He had no choice. Lu Zhenming just happened to come over. "Boss Xiao Chen, you're back. Skinny monkey, and I missed you so much when you weren't here." Lu Zhenming said, "I'll treat you to a meal." "Oh, let's go to the cafeteria." Xiao Chen smiled and said, "Do you remember the first time you treated me to a meal?" "Haha, don't mention it. I was young and ignorant at that time. I offended you." Lu Zhenming smiled and walked out of the classroom with Xiao Chen. Skinny Monkey and Ma Gangmen followed behind like two bodyguards. However, Xiao Chen also noticed that it seemed that Lu Zhenming was forcing a smile. Although he looked happy, he seemed to have something on his mind. Xiao Chen couldn't help but wonder, "Little Lu, what's wrong with you? Not very happy. Is it because Cheng Minjing left, so you don't have a goddess to look at?" "Ugh, Boss Xiao Chun, don't make fun of me. Menjing is your woman. How can I dare to think about it? Lu Zhenming scratched his head awkwardly and lowered his voice. The Lu family's businesses are now almost all being counterattacked by the Zheng family. Martial arts hall, security company, fitness center. Now the business is greatly reduced. Oh? Xiao Chun was slightly stunned and immediately thought of something. Because of that Tsin Wuming? Yeah, even our family's consecrator doesn't dare to provoke the Tsin family. It's a real martial arts family. It's not on the same level as our ordinary families. Lu Zhenming sighed. I didn't want to say this at first. I also know that you have a good relationship with Zheng Xiaoquan. So even if I said it, you wouldn't help me. It would make things difficult for you. But, AI. Xiao Chun nodded and said, I'll see the situation first. It seems that Zheng Xiaoquan has a bit of a compromise. I don't think this is his intention. Previously, Zheng Xiaoquan's expression and posture didn't seem to be willing. So, Xiao Chun planned to observe him again. He could also get some information from Lu Zhenming. I don't know whether it's his intention or not. Anyway, it's the Zheng family's intention to cooperate with the Tsin family. And the Zheng family also got the corresponding benefits. Lu Zhenming said. When they just entered Songning, they didn't dare to touch other businesses. They could only attack the underworld businesses. Because the Zheng family and our Lu family have grievances, it's reasonable to make a move. The other families won't intervene. After all, the Tsin family didn't touch their territory. Oh, I was wondering why they were so happy to attack the Xiao family today. Xiao Chun nodded. It seems that they can't wait. What? They attacked the Xiao family? Lu Zhenming was shocked. Yeah, but don't worry. I don't care about a small Tsin family. Xiao Chun said faintly. Moreover, I don't need to do anything at all. They are no match for the Xie family with normal business means. But we still have to guard against their dirty tricks. Lu Zhenming said. The Tsin family is quite sinister. I heard that they have some connections with the Wulin families. I'm afraid. It's okay. If it was in the past, Xiao Chun would be scared when he heard the words Wulin. Not to mention the Wulin, Xiao Chun didn't dare to offend the Wulin families easily. But now? Well, since Boss Xiao Chun is confident, then I won't say more. Let's go eat. Lu Zhenming said. Outside the school, in a private room of a luxury restaurant, Tsin Wu was eating a lamb chop elegantly. He said to Zheng Xiaoquan, You eat too. Don't act like a servant. Yes, Zheng Xiaoquan thought. Am I not a servant? I don't have any human rights in front of you. You scold me all day and treat me like a lackey. I've had enough. But he didn't dare to say it. The Tsin family could destroy the Zheng family in minutes. Although his father didn't say it clearly, Zheng Xiaoquan could see that his father regretted working with the Tsin family. Oh yeah, let me ask you. What's the strength of that Xiao Chun? He seems to be okay. Tsin Wu asked faintly while picking his teeth. I'm not very sure. But I heard that he's quite powerful. He seems to be close to the level of a devil master? Zheng Xiaoquan actually didn't know. The last news he heard was that Xiao Chun fought with the devil master of the Quishan sect. But he didn't know what his strength was. What? He's a devil master. Tsin Wu suddenly widened his eyes after hearing it. He looked incredulous. Are you kidding me? A small ordinary family can have a devil master? I'm not very sure about this. Xiao Chun hasn't come to school for a while. I heard it before. Zheng Xiaoquan smiled bitterly. At that time, it seemed that there was a devil master from the outer martial arts sects who went to look for trouble with Xiao Chun. And then, the outer martial arts sects looked for trouble with Xiao Chun? Stop bullsh asterisk ting. Okay, no need to say more. Tsin Wu immediately waved his hand after hearing it. A finished lamb chop bone was directly thrown at Zheng Xiaoquan's face. His throw was imbued with inner strength, and Zheng Xiaoquan was in so much pain that he almost cried. I know what you're thinking. Don't think that I don't know that you have a good relationship with that Xiao Chun. Don't you just want to promote him? You want me to think that he's strong and not go against him, right? Tsin Wu Ming sneered. Zheng Xiaoquan, you're too naive. Think about it. If he's a devil master, then how can the Xiao family still be an ordinary family? Didn't they already apply to be promoted to a true martial arts family? Do you think that's possible? No. I heard that he and a few other friends chased the people from the Quishan sect away. Zheng Xiaoquan said. In fact, he only heard it from others. The Quishan sect wouldn't say the real truth, and the Xiao family naturally wouldn't say it either. He only heard a small part of it. He didn't even know if there were any deaths. That's too funny. Sun Wuming sneered. All right, you said that he's a devil master, right? That's no problem. It just so happens that the second high priest of the family is coming tonight to check on our results today. When the time comes, I'll let him deal with Xiao Chun. Ah, Zheng Xiaoquan was stunned. He said that Xiao Chun was a devil master, and how powerful he was. In fact, it wasn't that he didn't want Sun Wuming to keep the peace. If the Tsin family and the Xiao family were to fight, then Zheng Xiaoquan would be in a difficult situation. After all, Xiao Chun had helped the Zheng family speak up at the Songning Righteous Devil Summit. Moreover, the two of them were also very good friends in school. But now, he didn't expect that after saying so much, it would attract an even more powerful opponent for Xiao Chun. This made him very depressed. Brother Tsin, there's no need to mobilize so many people to deal with a child from an aristocratic family, right? If the other aristocratic families in Songning saw this, they would think that we're also going to deal with them one by one. If that happens, it'll be difficult to deal with them jointly. Chapter 790. Haha. Now everyone knows that it's Xiao Chun from the Xiao family who offended me. What's wrong with me taking out the Xiao family? Isn't that normal? Who would think twice? They'll just watch the show. Sun Wuming waved his hand. I'm doing this with a good reason. I'm not looking for trouble for no reason. Alright, say no more. I've made up my mind. Yes. Zheng Xiaoquan nodded helplessly. He thought that he had to inform Xiao Chun, so that Xiao Chun could prepare in advance. Otherwise, what would happen to Xiao Chun if the Tsin family's consecrator came? Why aren't you eating? Why don't you eat? Sun Wuming pointed at the food on the table. Seeing that Zheng Xiaoquan wasn't eating much, he was unhappy. What? You don't like the food? I can eat, but you can't? Eat. Zheng Xiaoquan wasn't in the mood to eat. However, seeing Sun Wuming's expression, he knew that he had to eat. He could only bite the bullet and eat. That's more like it. Eat this plate of steak. Sun Wuming pushed a plate of steak in front of Zheng Xiaoquan. Okay. Thank you, Brother Tsin. Zheng Xiaoquan was on the verge of tears. F***ck, you ordered so much, took a bite of each, and left the rest for me? Are you trying to stuff me to death? Zheng Xiaoquan almost died from eating. However, he had no choice but to pretend to be happy and return to class with Sun Wuming. At this time, Xiao Chun had already returned from his meal. Seeing Sun Wuming's arrogant look, he was amused. Where did this guy's sense of superiority come from? Did he really think that he had the Xiao family under his thumb? Xiao Chun, do you want to know the latest battle report? Seeing that Xiao Chun was ignoring him, Sun Wuming felt no sense of accomplishment. However, he didn't dare to make a move. After all, he wasn't sure if Xiao Chun was the devil master. So it was better to wait for the family's consecrator. For the time being, he could just say something. I don't want to know, Xiao Chun said lightly. You. Sun Wuming looked deeply into Xiao Chun's eyes and said helplessly. Do whatever you want, but don't cry tonight when you find out the result. Oh. Xiao Chun picked up the book and ignored him. Sun Wuming had the strength but nowhere to exert it, so he could only sit aside resentfully and take out his phone to continue contacting his father, Sun Jiajin. After school in the evening, Xiao Chun waited for Xiao Xiao, but he didn't drive immediately. Brother, why aren't you leaving? You're still waiting for someone? Xiao Xiao asked curiously. Look at Li Xiener. She didn't leave, right? Xiao Chun looked at the middle school section. I don't think so. I was the first one to run out. Xiao Xiao thought about it and said, By the way, brother, I helped you observe Li Xiener today. She's the same as usual. But I suspect. Of course, it's just a suspicion. This Li Xiener might be a fake name. Why? Xiao Chun was stunned. You also know that I'm the class's art committee member. I have the right to check the information of the class members. Xiao Xiao said. I found out that everyone has an ID number except for her. Do you think there's a problem? Oh, Xiao Chun frowned. Nowadays, many people have an ID card at birth. They don't have to wait until they are 16 years old. but they usually get one after the age of 16. If Li Xianer doesn't have one, then there's really a problem. Yes, Xiao Xiao said proudly. I found nothing special about the others, but her grades in elementary school are very average. Although she looked good in elementary school, she wasn't ugly, but she was like a black potato. Her skin wasn't good at all. Now it's like milk. Her whole person also has an otherworldly fairy aura. Do you think she used her special ability to change her physique? Xiaochen nodded. After waiting for a while, Li Xianer didn't come, but Xin Wuming came instead. Aha, isn't this Xiaochen? Who's this pretty girl? Xin Wuming saw Xiao Xiao and suddenly had a feeling of amazement. He said, Sister, let me tell you. Don't think that this guy is the young master of the Xiao family. The Xiao family is about to go bankrupt. He will soon be living on the streets. There's no future for you to follow him. Get lost. Xiao Xiao said angrily. Who are you? Are you crazy? See, you still don't believe me. You should know Zheng Xiaoquan, right? If you don't believe me, you can ask him if the Xiao family is going to be finished. Xin Wuming pointed to Zheng Xiaoquan beside him and said, Brother Xin, that is Xiaochen's sister. Zheng Xiaoquan's face was full of black lines. She is also from the Xiao family. What? Xin Wuming was stunned and didn't know what to say. He could only turn around and get into his car, a Ferrari sports car. Although he had taken a liking to Xiao Xiao, he had already reached an impasse today. There was no turning back. He could only give up for now and wait for the Xiao family to be finished. This kind of young lady, who was used to living a luxurious life, could be easily tricked into bed. Thinking of this, Xin Wuming was happy again, as if the Xiao family was going to be finished. After a while, Li Xianer came out with her school bag. It seemed that a boy was pestering her with flowers in his hand and was about to confess to her. Nobody knew what he was talking about. Anyway, Li Xianer didn't have a good expression. She walked forward with a cold face. Seeing that Li Xianer ignored him, the boy grabbed Li Xianer. What are you doing? Zhao Yuqing, I told you that I don't want to be in a relationship. Can you stop bothering me? We are not suitable for each other. Li Xianer got rid of the boy impatiently and continued to walk forward. When passing the parking lot, Xiao Xiao suddenly opened the window and shouted, Li Xianer, take my car. I'll give you a ride. Li Xianer was slightly surprised when she heard Xiaochen call her, but then she saw Xiaochen in the driver's seat. She subconsciously thought that Xiaochen wanted to help her, but at this time, she wanted to get away, so she directly got into the car. Hey Li Xianer. The boy saw that Li Xianer got in the car, and he was a little anxious. He walked over in a few steps to open the door. However, Xiaochen had already locked the door and started the car. He directly threw the boy off. The man named Zhao Yuqing's eyes flashed a touch of coldness. He quickly ran to the side of a Volkswagen Touareg and got in the car. He directly started the car and chased after Xiaochen's Land Rover. In terms of grade, his car wasn't worse than Xiaochen's, but it looked more low-key. However, Xiaochen recognized it and couldn't help but ask, What is this person doing? He seems to be quite rich. I don't know. He transferred from another school, and then he began to chase me. Li Xianer said casually to Xiaochen, but after she finished speaking, she suddenly felt that she was too casual in front of Xiao Xiao. She was a girl who didn't like to talk much in school. Even if Xiaochen saved her before, it was impossible for her to be so casual with Xiaochen. However, Xiao Xiao didn't think there was anything wrong with it. She just smiled and said, Why don't you be my brother's girlfriend? Then, that Zhao Yuqing will give up. Li Xianer was stunned and looked at Xiao Xiao in confusion. Alright, don't pretend. My brother told me that you are the same kind of person. You don't have to hide it. Xiao Xiao smiled. Oh, Li Xianer was surprised, but she didn't explain. She thought that Xiaochen and Xiao Xiao were talking about her being a martial artist. After all, cultivators weren't easy to understand. Xiao Xiao was also a woman from an aristocratic family. She knew that there was nothing wrong with being a martial artist. So Li Xianer said, Yes, I am also a martial artist, but my strength is too low. I don't have the ability to protect myself. When Xiao Xiao heard Li Xianer say this, she thought that she wanted to keep the matter of being a superpower a secret, so she didn't expose it. She nodded and said, My brother is strong, so he can help you. Alright Xiao Xiao, don't mess around. I just came back for a few days. How can I have time to care about these things? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. Don't be a hindrance when the time comes. When Zhao Yuqing saw that I left, he would be even more crazy. He thinks that since Li Xianer can be a partner with me, she can naturally be a partner with him. It's better to refuse. That's true. Xiao Xiao nodded. Right, Li Xianer, where is your home? We will send you back. No need. Just drop me at the intersection in front. Li Xianer subconsciously didn't want Xiao Chen to know too much about her. The car behind is chasing. Xiao Xiao pointed to the back of the car. Ah! Li Xianer also saw Zhao Yuqing's car. And she suddenly had a headache. Why did he follow? Really? Hee, so I helped you get rid of him. Tell me, where is your home? Asked Xiao Chen. Well, my home is in Shanty Town. Li Xianer had to say. I rented a house there. Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. How can it be Shanty Town? Is this Li Xianer so poor? Seeing Xiao Chen's doubts, Li Xianer smiled self-deprecatingly. I'm an orphan. I don't have much money. Only my master left me some inheritance before he died, but it's not much. I have to live frugally. Since Xiao Xiao knew that she was a martial artist, Li Xianer didn't avoid the matter of her master. It's really hard for you to listen. Xiao Xiao sighed sympathetically. Li Xianer wanted to say, yeah, but she heard Xiao Xiao continue. So you really should find a rich boyfriend. Ha! Li Xianer looked at Xiao Xiao in amazement. I'm kidding. Xiao Xiao stuck out her tongue. Xiao Chen showed his racing skills at this time. Although it was the rush hour, Xiao Chen's Land Rover was still as dexterous as a motorcycle. It shuttled on the road. And it didn't take long for the Ferrari sports car behind to disappear. Motherf asterisk her. Zhao Yuqing slammed the steering wheel and shouted. The one who drives the Land Rover, I remember you. Don't let me see you again tomorrow otherwise humph. As Zhao Yuqing said this, he found a double solid line and turned around to leave. The car came to Shanty Town. Because it couldn't go in, Li Xianer got off here. He nodded to her and didn't say much. Xiao Chen drove away directly. Chapter 791. After Xiao Chen left, Li Xianer thought about it. It couldn't be that Xiao Chong still wanted to learn cultivation from her, so he asked his sister to matchmake her. Right? Why didn't this Xiao Chong give up? Li Xianer already knew that Xiao Xiao was not Xiao Chong's boyfriend but his sister, so her thoughts began to drift again. When Xiao Chun and Xiao Xiao returned home, they saw Xie Huang and Yu Xiaochuan's father Yunan. Second uncle Xiao Hai was discussing something with them. Seeing Xiao Chen come in, Xie Huang immediately stood up. Xiao Chen. And you're all here. Are you studying the Tsin family? Xiao Chen nodded and asked. Yeah. Some of the businesses that our Yu family and the Xiao family cooperated with were also attacked. Yunan said. The Yu family's main business was the hotel industry. It was true that they were attacked, but it was hard to say whether there would be any effect after the attack. Even if there was, it would be a good effect. Yunan was not as respectful to Xiao Chun as Xie Huang. After all, the Yu family had Yu Xiaochuan, and their strength was not weak. In fact, the Yu family could do well without cooperating with the Xiao family. However, Yu Xiaochuan insisted on cooperating with the Xiao family, so Yunan had no choice. Although he was Yu Xiaochuan's father, the core figure of the Yu family was still Yu Xiaochuan. Whoever was stronger had the right to speak. What's the result? Xiao Chen asked. Although we've all been attacked, it seems that our response measures are still good. Xie Huang said. Take the chain store for example. Our business was not affected at all. On the contrary, because 90% of the goods in the Tsin family's store were swallowed by us. They have no goods to sell now. Customers can only come to us. Moreover, because the price of the Tsin family's store is extremely low, our purchase cost is also reduced a lot. So the profit is several times higher than usual. Good job. Xiao Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Although he knew that Xie Huang and the others were not incompetent, he was relieved to hear that it was fine. The hotel business that the Yu clan was working with was also the same. Their profits were much higher than usual. Overall, it was good news. However, they still had to discuss it together. They were afraid that the Tsin clan would come to their senses and continued to play dirty tricks. The Xiao family was celebrating, and so was the Tsin family. Sun Jiajin did not realize that his current actions were burning money. From his point of view, if he wanted to quickly open up the market, how could he not incur losses in the early stages? And now, the momentum brought about by various promotions and discounts was also very gratifying. Looking at the reports handed over by his assistants, Sun Jiajin couldn't close his mouth. Great, this is great. In just one day, we've taken over half of the hotel and supermarket industries. The Xiao family's businesses are losing ground. Yes, Director Xian. Our supermarket has been out of stock several times, and the hotel is already overcrowded, especially with many people applying for membership cards. The assistant nodded and said, "Not bad. You guys are very capable. Hold the Xiao family back for a few days. When the time comes, they'll be finished. We'll send people to buy all of the Xiao family's businesses." Sun Jiajin said proudly. Actually, his plan was very good. The customers were already in his shop. Unless the Xiao family also started a price war, they could only wait for death. But the Xiao family was a small family. Could they afford a price war with the real martial clan? It was completely impossible. They could only be bought over. Otherwise, these businesses would be losing money in the hands of the Xiao family. What was the use of keeping them? Sun Jiajin's plan was very good. This was also a very common business method. Of course, it might be effective against some small businesses, but against the Xiao family, it would be a tragedy. The Xiao family was not a small family or a small business. In terms of wealth, no one in the vicinity could be richer than the Xie family. Especially the Xiao family, the Xie family, and the Yu family were united. Not only were they rich, they also had the business brain, Xie Huang. Not only did they not lose money and wait for death, but they also gained a great advantage. This was something Sun Jiajin did not expect. Of course, it was impossible for him to think in this direction. After all, supermarkets occupied a lot of their own business. Otherwise, why would many supermarkets like to buy on credit with their suppliers? They were also very scarce in cash. For the Xiao family to use money to buy all the goods in their competitors' supermarkets was simply unimaginable. He had never heard of anyone doing this before. This was not the stock market. It was the same for the hotel industry. It was also strange to let their employees stay in the hotel for a long time. But now that the Xiao family was rich and willful, it was not a problem. Director Tsin, you flatter me. This is all because of Director Tsin's leadership. The assistant quickly said modestly. Well, let's go. The second consecrator is coming. Let's welcome him together. Sun Jiajin stood up and said seriously. The second consecrator was not from the real martial clan's Tsin family, but from the outer martial world's Tsin family. The outer martial world's Tsin family had sent 2 experts to the real martial clan's Tsin family. This was also to make the Tsin family stand out from the other real martial clans. Just then, Tsin Wuming came back from school. As soon as he entered the door, he saw that his father was going out. Dad, you are going to... Tsin Wuming also received the family's battle report. He wanted to have a joyful chat with his father for a while. The second consecrator is coming. Wuming, you should go with him. Sun Jiajin said. Okay. Tsin Wuming was very happy when he heard that the second consecrator was coming. He wanted to find a chance to talk to the second consecrator about how to deal with Xiao Chun. They arrived at the Zheng family's gate. The Zheng family had actually moved to a remote place in the courtyard. They were not allowed to walk around. Zheng Xiaoquan felt that this was no longer his home. A commercial vehicle slowly stopped at the gate of the Zheng family's mansion. An old man in a black robe came out of the vehicle. He looked at Sun Jiajin with arrogance in his eyes and said, Jiajin, I heard that you have been here for a month and have not made any progress. The head of the previous family asked me to come and see if you are not capable or have some difficulties. The old man was very arrogant when he said this. He had the dignity and disdain of a superior. He was the second consecrator of the Tsin family. The head of the previous family he mentioned was naturally not the head of the real martial world's Tsin family, but the head of the outer martial world's Tsin family. Second consecrator, that was in the past. Today, I have great news to report to you. Sun Jiajin said respectfully. Please come in and listen to Jiajin's detailed report. Oh, good news? Tell me about it. The second consecrator was slightly stunned. He was a little annoyed that Sinjajin was so useless. He was sent to help because he had not made any progress in a month. But now, it seemed that it was not the case. Yes. After entering the living room, Sinjajin explained in detail how Sin Wuming obtained an opportunity from the Xiao family's hothead young master, Xiao Chun, and then seized half of the supermarket and hotel industry. Oh, not bad. The second consecrator listened to Sinjajin's report. Although he felt that it was not bad, that was in consideration of the family's interests. He was a little unhappy from the perspective of personal interests. These things happened before he came, so it was not his credit. When he returned, the previous family's head would not give him any reward. This made him a little dispirited. All right, if that's the case, then continue according to your plan. I don't need to do anything. I think I will go back in a few days. Ah, how smart was Sinjajin. As soon as he heard the second consecrator's words, he understood the meaning behind it. He quickly said, Second consecrator, how can you leave? Today's results were only achieved under your supervision. Without your strong backing, we wouldn't have dared to challenge the Xiao family. After all, the Xiao family is a local aristocratic family. Even if we are a dragon crossing the river, a strong dragon can't suppress a snake in its own territory. But we know that the second consecrator is coming to support us, so we dared to do this. Oh, is that so? Does this mean that I also contributed? The second consecrator was delighted. That's for sure. When the time comes, I'll report it to the upper family. Without the second deacon, we wouldn't have dared to challenge the Xiao family. All of this is because of the second deacon's support. Haha, I am not as powerful as you say. The second consecrator laughed. This way, he could get a share of the profits. He immediately felt that Sinjajin was more pleasing to the eye. And since you said so, I will definitely contribute. If there is anything you can't handle, just tell me. I will solve it for you. Yes, thank you, second consecrator. Sinjajin quickly thanked him. Sin Wuming wanted to talk about Xiao Chun, but he was stopped by Sinjajin's eyes. Then, second consecrator, do you think we should eat at home or go to the family's hotel? Sinjajin asked. Let's go to the hotel. We can see how full the hotel is. The second consecrator nodded. Okay, then let's go to the hotel. Sinjajin said. I will contact them. And I will rest first. The second consecrator said. Get someone to bring me to my room. Yes. Xiao Wang, bring the second consecrator to the prepared room. Sinjajin ordered his assistant Xiao Wang. After Xiao Wang left with the second consecrator, Sin Wuming looked at his father in confusion. Father, just now I wanted to say. I know. Just now you wanted to talk about letting the second consecrator deal with Xiao Chun, right? Sinjajin asked. Yes, exactly. Why did you interrupt me? Sin Wuming was confused. He had already talked to his father about taking care of Xiao Chun during the day, and his father agreed. Why did he change his mind at night? At this time, it is not appropriate to let the second consecrator deal with Xiao Chun directly. We need to use the second consecrator as a trump card instead of using him directly, Sinjajin said. If this continues, the Xiao family's hotel and shopping center will not be able to hold on. In a few days, we will be able to buy them over. However, even if the Xiao family wants to sell them, they will not sell them for a low price. At this time, we need to threaten and bribe them. The second consecrator can appear. Chapter 792. Oh, Father, you are really far-sighted. Sin Wuming immediately understood. I'm just teaching Xiao Chun a lesson for a while, but you are making the Xiao family suffer for a long time. That's right. If Xiao Chun is really a martial arts master like you said, then the Xiao family will definitely use Xiao Chun as a trump card and bring him to negotiate with us. It will also serve as a deterrent and pressure. The price they sell us won't be too low, Sinjajin said. But they didn't expect our second priest to be even more powerful. They can only wait to cry ha ha ha. Okay, let Xiao Chun be proud for 2 more days. Sin Wuming thought about the gains and losses, so he wasn't in a hurry to teach Xiao Chun a lesson. Not only did he not teach Xiao Chun a lesson, But he also wanted to show weakness to the enemy, making Xiao Chen feel that he really couldn't do anything to him. When the second priest appeared, Xiao Chen's disadvantage would be huge. Maybe he wouldn't be able to accept the fact and become mentally ill. In the evening, Sun Jiajin and his son brought the second priest to a relatively high-end hotel. This hotel was also acquired, so the front desk manager didn't know Sun Jiajin and the others. He thought they were guests who wanted to stay in the hotel. In order to investigate the situation, Sun Jiajin didn't reveal his identity, but asked directly, "Young man, we want to stay in the hotel. 3 rooms. I'm sorry, sir. Our hotel is full because of the event." The lobby manager walked over and said politely, "Oh, that room is empty?" Sun Jiajin asked. "This one is really empty." The lobby manager smiled bitterly. "All of them are full. Then can we have a room tomorrow?" Sun Jiajin asked. This is hard to say, because most of the guests booked more than 3 days. Even if there is a booking for 1 day, if they don't check out and continue to pay tomorrow, we can't kick them out, right? The lobby manager explained. Haha, not bad. Sun Jiajin was delighted after hearing it. The second priest on the side was also very satisfied. It seemed that Sun Jiajin wasn't bragging, but it was really true. Seeing that Sun Jiajin laughed and said not bad, the lobby manager was a little puzzled. Sir, you are Xiao Lu, right? I'm Sun Jiajin. Did my assistant, Xiao Wang, contact you before? Sun Jiajin smiled. Ah, it's Director Sun. I'm sorry. The lobby manager apologized profusely. I've never seen you before, so. Well, it's fine. I just want to see the real you. Alright, have you arranged the dinner? Lead the way. Sun Jiajin waved his hand and said. Okay, Director Sun, please come with me. The lobby manager hurriedly made a please gesture. When he went to the elevator, Sun Jiajin found that all 3 elevators were in use, which meant that there were a lot of people in the hotel. So he simply took the stairs. Anyway, the restaurant was in the basement, so it was only a few steps away. Keep it up. You've done very well. I'll report what I see. The second priest was also very satisfied with the current situation. Haha, same to you, Sun Jiajin said happily. It was a quiet night. The next morning, Xiao Chen woke up early. Looking at Xiao Xiao, who was sleeping soundly next to him, Xiao Chen planned to go to the morning market street to see how Lin was doing. He hadn't seen her for a long time. In Xiao Chen's mind, he didn't have much romantic feelings for Lin. At most, it might be a kind of habit to take care of her. It was like that when he was in number 1 middle school, and it was still the same after he left. Xiao Chen didn't drive, but ran all the way to the morning market street. It was a familiar street, but when Xiao Chen came here again, it was so strange, as if it was a lifetime ago. It seemed like he hadn't been here for a long time. Looking at the familiar scene of the morning market street, it seemed that everything was getting farther and farther away from him. Fried dough sticks and tofu pudding, bacon pancake, Zhang's meat buns. All kinds of hawking were mixed with the sound of people bargaining. Xiao Chen slowly walked to the market, but when he walked to the stall where Tang Tang and himself used to be, he couldn't help but be stunned. This was not Lin Kuo's family's wooden planks, but a stall selling new and strange items. Look, all kinds of new and special products. Several men in their 20s were hawking in front of the stall. Have you seen a small saw that can cut an iron bar? It's right here. Only $15. You won't lose out if you buy it. You won't regret it if you buy it. The man shouted as he sawed an iron pipe back and forth with a saw blade. Soon the iron pipe was sawed off. The saw in his hand was only a small saw that could be held with one hand. Such a magical thing naturally attracted the generosity of the people around, because 15 yuan was really not expensive. If this thing was really useful, it was really a good price. Have you seen a magical little box that can receive all the satellite programs? This is what I'm going to show everyone today. Everyone, please take a look. As long as you connect the video cable of this box to the TV, you can receive a satellite TV. The young man nimbly connected the equipment, and then all kinds of high-definition channels appeared on the TV. Hee, there's also an adult channel, you know. As he spoke, the young man changed the channel. Suddenly, there were scenes of on the TV. Some aunties scolded the young man for being indecent. But there were also many old men who expressed great interest and wanted to buy it. At this time, an old man squeezed in with a swish. "This satellite receiver box I bought yesterday doesn't work at all." Before he finished, a young man pulled the old man out. "Sir, it's you who don't know how to use it, right? How about this? I will go home with you to adjust it." Xiaochen frowned. Go home to adjust it? Maybe they threatened and forced this old man to not dare to make trouble again? Xiaochen could guess this kind of trick. There were also things like sonic mousetraps, infrared dog scares, and the like. Some were real, but even if they were real, the effects weren't that magical. Xiaochen didn't care about these. What he was most concerned about was who the owner of this stall was. Could it be someone hired by Kerlin's family? If that was the case, then Xiaochen had really misjudged them. After watching for a while, Xiaochen left. He planned to find someone to ask about the situation. However, as he walked forward, he saw Kerlin's noodle stall. It had returned to its original position. Of course, it was at the back, and business wasn't as good as before. "Kerlin." Xiaochen called out to Kerlin, who was busy. "Ah, Xiaochen." When Kerlin saw Xiaochen, a complicated look flashed in her eyes. She didn't know how she should treat Xiaochen. Was it gratitude, love, fear, or nothing at all? However, every time she saw Xiaochen, she would feel very nervous, and the spinach in her hand would fall to the ground. "Let me help you pick it up." Xiaochen squatted down and helped Kerlin pick up the spinach. Kerlin was wearing a short skirt in early spring, which was also the school uniform of No. 1 middle school. When Xiaochen squatted down, he saw a touch of spring between her legs. It was pink panties. Ah! Kerlin might have also realized this. When she saw Xiaochen staring blankly, her face suddenly turned red. She subconsciously wanted to close her legs, but because the spinach and water from before had spilled on the ground, her feet slipped, and her body unconsciously leaned forward. This time, Kerlin sat directly on Xiaochen's face. The pink panties also happened to press down on Xiaochen's face. The scent of a young girl made Xiaochen a little restless. He wanted to push Kerlin away, but he couldn't bear to let go of this feeling. At this time, Papa Lin and Mama Lin were attracted by the scream, and they saw their daughter sitting ambiguously on a man's face. This posture, this action. Papa Lin rubbed his eyes. "It can't be. My daughter has grown up to be so avant-garde?" Mama Lin was a little angry. She ran over and pulled Kerlin up. Only then did Xiaochen awkwardly crawl out from under the skirt. "Auntie." Mama Lin was about to get angry. Which little brat dared to do such a vulgar thing in public? But when she saw it was Xiaochen, she couldn't help but be stunned. "Isn't this Xiaochen? Long time no see. You and our Kerr are already together?" Mama Lin originally wanted to beat Kerlin and Xiaochen to death when she saw her daughter fall in love. But when she saw it was Xiaochen, her attitude mysteriously changed. First, Xiaochen always helped the Lin family, and he even saved Kerlin several times. Second, she heard that Xiaochen's family was very well off, and her daughter wouldn't be at a disadvantage if she followed him. Auntie, it's a misunderstanding." Xiaochen could only explain while wiping his sweat. "I saw Kerr drop the spinach, so I helped her pick it up. I didn't expect her to slip, and it became like that just now. Actually, we really didn't do anything." "Is that really the case?" Mama Lin looked at the spinach on the ground and suddenly felt a little disappointed. Speaking of which, she was very satisfied with Xiaochen as a son-in-law. But it turned out to be a misunderstanding. "That's right, Mommy. Why are you making such a big fuss?" Lin Kuo said with a blushing face. She only felt that there was a strange feeling under her body. It was a little bashful and exciting, but it seemed to be pretty good. Shocked by this thought, Lin Kuo hurriedly shook her head. How could it be pretty good? This was a very dirty thing. Oh, Mama Lin didn't say anything more. She looked at her daughter's blushing face and felt that there was a problem here. But maybe they hadn't really confirmed their relationship? In Mama Lin's opinion, Kerlin was also growing up, and in the blink of an eye, she would be going to college in the next half of the year, so it was normal for her to have a boyfriend. And the most important problem was that the Lin family's financial situation wasn't good. Even if they had saved some money before, with the addition of Kerlin's prize money from the competition, It was only enough to buy an ordinary first-floor retail store. So Kerlin inevitably didn't have money to go to college. If Xiao Chun and Kerlin were together, then she wouldn't have to worry anymore. In the past, she thought that selling noodles could make a living, but as she grew older, and Papa Lin's health wasn't very good, so Mama Lin wanted to open a store and not work so hard in the morning market. Chapter 793. Of course, the most important thing was that the goods stall was robbed. They couldn't earn much money even if they worked so hard. Right, Kerlin, have you rented out the stall? Asked Xiaochen. Rented out? Kerlin was slightly stunned, and then said with some sadness, No, it was robbed by those people. They occupied it as soon as they came. We told them, but they didn't listen. They even wanted to beat us. We had to come back and sell it. Doesn't the morning market management office care about it? Asked Xiaochen with a frown. His heart was a lot more comfortable. As long as it wasn't Kerlin's family who rented it out, it was fine. As for being robbed, it wasn't a big deal in Xiaochen's eyes. I went to take a look, but that group of people were gangsters. The management office couldn't do anything about it. They let us solve it ourselves. Kerlin smiled bitterly. Xiaochen shook his head. It seems that the management office people are not good at anything except collecting money. However, this was understandable. Many businessmen contracted the market, and then hired a few people here. It was difficult for them to manage it. These people didn't need to fight with these gangsters for a few thousand yuan a month. Okay, I will go and get it back for you, Xiaochen said. But give me a bowl of noodles first. Ah, Xiaochen, you are going to fight again. Kerlin was a little scared when she heard it. The scene of Xiaochen killing people unconsciously appeared in her mind. I am going to reason with them, but if they start first, I can't do anything about it. Xiaochen smiled. Hi. Kerlin sighed. She knew that she couldn't control Xiaochen, not to mention that he was standing up for her family. She could only cook noodles. Mother Lin was very excited. Can we really get it back? The income of her family here was really different from before. This kind of gap made Mother Lin not want to continue working. She wanted to open a shop. If she could get back her previous position, it was nothing to work hard. If you don't give it, I will beat you to death. Xiaochen smiled. This is great. Mother Lin, on the other hand, was not afraid of fighting. She knew that if she was not ruthless to these hooligans, how could they return the money smoothly? After eating the noodles, Xiaochen swaggered to the new and strange stall from before. This stall was still scamming people, but there were also a lot of people who had been scammed. There was nothing that could be done about it. Many old people did not understand these things and were greedy, so they were scammed. Most people just suffered in silence. Even if someone came to look for them, they would be secretly taken away by these young lads, threatened and so on. Whose stall is this? Xiaochen walked over and asked without beating around the bush. What's wrong? Are you looking for trouble? Without saying a word, a burly young man walked over and grabbed Xiaochen, wanting to take him to the side to teach him a lesson. Go away. Xiaochen sent the young man flying with a kick. He flew across the sky in a beautiful parabola, and finally landed in a rubbish bin not far away. His head was facing the ground, and he didn't come out for a long time. When the few young lads saw that Xiaochen was a ruthless person, they put down the things in their hands and surrounded Xiaochen collectively. They were not afraid. These people were all gangsters, so they took out sticks, switchblades, rubber sticks, and the like from their pockets. Kid, are you looking for death? A gangster holding a switchblade asked. He seemed to be the leader of this group of people. That's right. You dare to cause trouble here. Are you tired of living? Why don't you find out who this stall belongs to? We are from the Black Crow's gang. Another man with hedgehog hair, holding a switchblade, glared at Xiaochen with a ruthless face. I'm causing trouble? Xiaochen was instantly amused. This stall is mine. Now that you guys have occupied it, you still say that I'm causing trouble. Is there such a joke? Kid, this stall is yours? The switchblade was stunned. You're the one selling the noodles? I'm not selling noodles. I'm selling fried dough sticks. I just let them use the stall. Xiaochen said. Aha, you're selling fried dough sticks? When the hedgehog head heard that Xiaochen was only selling fried dough sticks, he was instantly relieved. He mocked. Since you let them use it, then let us use it now. Kid, now write a letter of commitment and transfer the stall to us for free. Then we won't beat you to death. Really? Xiaochen asked playfully. That's right. The switchblade nodded. He thought that what Xiaochen said was true. Oh, then I'm sorry. I can only beat you to death. Xiaochen shrugged. You're asking for death. When the switchblade realized that it had been tricked, it immediately flew into a rage out of humiliation. It let out a strange cry and directly stabbed at Xiaochen. Oh, you're right. You're really looking for death. Xiaochen slapped the switchblade man's face and snatched the switchblade from his hand with his other hand. He stabbed the switchblade into the man's swollen face, piercing through his cheek and coming out the other side. Ow, 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 ow. The switchblade screamed in pain. His mouth was full of blood. It was scary. Although these little punks were quite ruthless when they fought, it was rare to see someone like Xiaochen. This was simply brutal. It's your turn. Xiaochen grabbed the hedgehog head's hair and pulled hard. Kacha! A large piece of hair and scalp were pulled off. The blood was very horrifying. If it was an ordinary person, they would only be able to pull off the hair but not the scalp. However, Xiaochen used the skill of adding vitality. The hedgehog head's scalp fell off and his skull was instantly exposed. He was in so much pain that he didn't know if he could survive. The other punks who hadn't made a move knew that they had met a ruthless person. They didn't dare to go forward anymore. They picked up their companions and ran away. They didn't even care about the stall anymore. However, before they left, they didn't forget to say some harsh words. Kid, how dare you go against the Black Crow's gang? Just you wait. Oh, you're looking for someone? Then hurry up. I still have to go to school later. Xiaochen looked at the time and said. However, no one replied. The few punks had disappeared in an instant. Of course, Xiaochen didn't leave. If he left, even if he returned the stall to Lin's family, the Lin family would be the one suffering. After all, these punks would definitely come back to cause trouble. Hence, Xiaochen didn't mind waiting a little longer. Who among you has been scammed here before? Come and take some. Xiaochen didn't have any use for these scams. He didn't want to leave them for Lin's family either. Xiaochen could tell that Lin was very upright. However, Mother Lin was a little unscrupulous. If he gave these things to her, she might be able to sell them off. However, as soon as Xiaochen finished his sentence, many people surrounded him and were ready to snatch them. What are you doing? Line up one by one. Everyone can only take one item. If you want to line up again. Xiaochen frowned and shouted. If it were someone else, it wouldn't be so effective. However, everyone saw how ruthless Xiaochen was. This beating wasn't a normal fight. He was beating them to death. Didn't they see how miserable the punks were? Hence, everyone quickly lined up and didn't dare to snatch anymore. Everyone obediently took one item. Not long after, the two punks who ran away previously who weren't injured returned. There was another person behind them. He didn't hide his overbearing aura at all. Xiaochen could tell that he was a martial artist at a glance. Who dares to beat up the people from the Black Crow's gang? The overbearing man shouted from afar. Where are you from? Tell me your name. Xiaochen frowned. Isn't the underworld in Songning controlled by the Lu family? Where did this Black Crow's gang come from? However, he didn't waste any time and said plainly. Tell me your name first. I'm one of the 4 guardians of the Black Crow's gang, Wang Jinbrick. The overbearing man said loudly. How about it? Have you heard of my name? Kid, aren't you awesome? What's so awesome about a youtiao seller? Now that our guardian Jinbrick is here, you're just a piece of sh*t. A punk echoed. I've never heard of you. Where did you come from? Xiaochen shook his head. Is there a Black Crow's gang in Songning City? Isn't it the Lu family gang? Haha, the Lu family gang is a thing of the past. Another punk immediately said. Now it's our Black Crow's gang's world. Let me tell you, if you know what's good for you, you'll die obediently. That way, you'll suffer less. Zhen Wustsen family? Xiaochen suddenly thought of the pronunciation of the Black Crow's gang. The pronunciation of the word "sen" was rare. Hence, Xiaochen immediately thought of Zhen Wustsen family, and what Lu Zhenming said previously. Not bad, kid. Looks like you're not just a youtiao seller. Wang Jinbrick heard these punks say that they were beaten up by a youtiao seller. After listening to the process and checking their injuries, he immediately guessed that Xiao Chen wasn't just a youtiao seller. I really am a youtiao seller, Xiao Chen said faintly. But you're really not worthy of being beaten up by me. If you know what's good for you, then go back. Don't come here to show off anymore. Your master, Sun Wuming, was beaten up by me yesterday. What? Wang Jimbrick's eyes widened. My name is Xiao Chen. You can verify it, Xiao Chen said faintly. Wang Jimbrick's face became uncertain. He wasn't sure of Xiao Chen's strength. However, as the protector of the Black Crow's gang, his status was high. Naturally, he had a way to contact the young master, Sun Wuming, in Songning City. After some thought, Wang Jimbrick dialed Sun Wuming's number. Young Master Tsin, I'm Wang Jimbrick from the Black Crow's gang. Wang Jimbrick said carefully. Oh, what's the matter? Sun Wuming asked. A few of us had a conflict with a man named Xiao Chun on Morning Market Street. He's very arrogant, but he seems to know young Master Tsin. Wang Jimbrick obviously didn't dare to say that Xiao Chun had taught Sun Wuming a lesson. What, Xiao Chen? Sun Wuming gritted his teeth when he heard the name. However, after some thought he still said, You're no match for him. Retreat first. Ah, yes. Wang Jimbrick finally understood that Xiao Chen wasn't bragging. What he said was true. He had no choice. Since Sun Wuming said so, he definitely wasn't a match for Xiao Chen. He could only turn around and leave without another word. Although the two punks didn't know what was going on, it was obvious that their boss had admitted defeat. They could only follow behind dejectedly. Chapter 794. With the matter resolved, Xiao Chen was quite satisfied. He believed that as long as Sun Wuming wasn't stupid, he wouldn't easily let his underlings find trouble with Xiao Chen, because those underlings weren't his opponents. In these gangs, a martial artist was very bad *SS, but it was nothing in the world of martial artists. However, what surprised Xiao Chen was that this Black Tsin gang penetrated very quickly. These gang members had already covered many industries. Even scammers like the Morning Market had set up stalls. It was really extensive. However, this also showed that the Liu family gang suffered a big loss. Liu Zhenming didn't say much before, but now it seemed that the situation was very serious. However, Liu Zhenming didn't ask for his help, which made Xiao Chen sigh. In fact, if Liu Zhenming really asked, he definitely wouldn't refuse. In the beginning, Liu Zhenming got Xia Shibin's recording, which helped Xiao Chen a lot. It also made Xia Shibin become Xiao Chen's underling. Of course, it seemed that these things weren't needed now, but in the previous situation, it could be said to be the key evidence that could reverse the whole thing. Therefore, Xiao Chen was still very grateful to Liu Zhenming. Xiao Chen would naturally help the Liu family solve this trouble. And the root of this trouble was the Tsin family of real martial. As long as the Tsin family left Songning, the Liu family's trouble would be solved. When these things were taken away, and the venue was empty, Xiao Chen went to find Kurlin's family. Auntie, the booth in front is empty, and they won't come looking for trouble again. You can go back, Xiao Chen said lightly. He naturally didn't elaborate on the process. Really? Xiao Chen, thank you so much. Mother Lin was overjoyed when she heard it. In this way, her family's income could double. You're welcome. Xiao Chen shook his head. Should I help you pack up? No, let's do it tomorrow. I'm already here today, so let's not waste time. Mother Lin had already started a fire to boil water. It would be troublesome to move over again, so one more day wouldn't make much of a difference. Okay, then I'll go to school first. If there's such trouble again, just tell Kaer to call me directly. If I had known earlier, I would have come earlier, Xiao Chen said. Okay, then I'll have to trouble you. Why didn't Mother Lin ask Kurlin to call before? However, Kurlin stammered and dragged her feet, and there was no news. Seeing that there was nothing to do, Xiao Chen returned home. Xiao Xiao had already put on her clothes and was looking around. When she saw Xiao Chen, she immediately said, Brother, where did you go? I thought you were kidnapped by aliens. You disappeared early in the morning. Oh, I'm going out for a walk. Xiao Chen smiled and said, Going to school? What school? Today is Saturday. Are you out of your mind? Xiao Xiao rolled her eyes at Xiao Chen. Today I plan to go shopping. You go with me. Shopping? Xiao Chun was slightly stunned. Yeah. I made an appointment with Li Xianer. Aren't you interested in her? I chatted with her. She said that she was going to buy something today, so I asked her to go together. Xiao Xiao said proudly. How is it? Your sister Ai is quite good, right? Xiao Chun smiled bitterly. He just asked Xiao Xiao to pay attention to Li Xianer's abnormality, but Xiao Xiao approached Li Xianer openly. This way he couldn't see any problems. Xiao Chun just wanted to investigate this person secretly. As a result, Li Xianer was already on guard. How could he investigate? However, thinking about it, he was afraid that there would be a time when he accidentally exposed himself. Xiao Chun also nodded and agreed. After a simple tidying up and greeting Xiao Hai, Xiao Chun and Xiao Xiao drove out. The place to meet Li Xianer was the bus station near Shantytown. When the car stopped at the bus station, Li Xianer was already standing there. Today, she was wearing a gray sportswear. She looked very youthful. If Xiao Chun didn't know her well, it would be difficult to connect her with that Xianer. Li Xianer opened the door and got in the car. She suddenly attracted the envy of a few girls next to her. But they also showed some disdain. They thought that Li Xianer was just using her beauty to attract the rich man. When he was tired of playing with her, he would dump her, and she would cry. Where are we going? Asked Xiao Chun. Let's go to the business street, said Xiao Xiao. Didn't you say to go to the morning market? Li Xianer frowned slightly. She didn't spend much money on her hands. She only occasionally worked part-time to help others to eliminate demons. However, this industry seemed to be profitable. But in fact, how many demons were there? Moreover, if there were demons that couldn't be eliminated, then there would be no money. She naturally had to be careful. Didn't you say that I would treat you? Xiao Xiao said. What do you want? I will buy it for you. How can that be? Li Xianer wanted to refuse subconsciously because in her heart, she still felt that Xiao Chun wanted to learn cultivation from her. So he asked Xiao Xiao to get close to her. Otherwise, she and Xiao Xiao were just ordinary classmates before. Why would she suddenly become enthusiastic? Okay. Anyway, my family has a lot of money. In order to help Xiao Chun, Xiao Xiao had no bottom line. She wasn't this kind of girl who liked to worship money. It's not like that. It's not good, right? Li Xianer really felt that Xiao Chun was coveting her ability. It's okay, right, brother? Xiao Xiao blinked at Xiao Chun. Unfortunately, Xiao Chun didn't see it because he was driving. He said, Since Xianer wants to buy it herself, then let her buy it herself. Ah. Xiao Xiao was stunned. Ah. Li Xianer was also stunned. Why would Xiao Chun say that? Could it be that he was playing hard to get? What's wrong with you two? Xiao Chun was a little stunned. It was understandable that Xiao Xiao was strange, but Li Xianer's expression, no, nothing. Li Xianer shook her head. Xiao Chun, there are no outsiders in the car. Tell me, do you want to learn our sex mantra? So that your sister can get close to me? You think too much. Xiao Chun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Yeah, you think too much. My brother is much better than you. Xiao Xiao also echoed. It's possible to get you into bed, but to learn your mantra, forget it. Ugh. Li Xianer was choked by Xiao Chun and Xiao Xiao. Her eyes widened, and she didn't recover for a long time. After a while she said, Xiao Chun, you are shameless. Oh, Xiao Xiao is joking with you. How did it become me being shameless? Xiao Chun was speechless. Li Xianer, can we talk properly? Okay. Li Xianer shrugged. Then you buy it for me. I want to see what you want from me. Hee. Xiao Chun smiled. When they came to the business street, Xiao Chun found a parking lot. However, because of the weekend, the parking lot was already full of cars. Xiao Chun really had no place to park, and this was a no parking section nearby. In fact, as long as Xiao Chun took out the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's pass, he could park anywhere. He didn't have to worry about being punished. However, Xiao Chun wasn't the kind of person who liked to show this kind of privilege. Even if he had made a lot of contributions to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he wouldn't do it like the real Yang Jiannan. Instead, he found a slightly higher roadside not far away. He could park here, and he wouldn't be punished. There were cars nearby, but the places where cars could get on were all parked. The remaining roadside was very high. Even off-road vehicles couldn't get on. However, as Xiao Chun stepped on the accelerator, he used his primordial energy to propel the car forward, causing the front wheels to bounce up. As a result, the car drove up, causing Xiao Xiao and Li Xianer to widen their eyes. Xiao Xiao was better. She knew that Xiao Chen's ability was good, but Li Xianer was surprised. This wasn't something that a martial artist could do. Is Xiao Chen's driving skill so good? But is this something that can be done with good driving skills? Seeing Xiao Chen park his car here, several drivers around also looked at him with envy. Another driver, who was also driving the same Land Rover as Xiao Chen, was also looking for a parking space. He couldn't find it after looking for a long time. When he saw Xiao Chen go up, he also drove up. In the end, he didn't have any primordial chi. With a bang, the car's chassis got stuck on the roadside, smashing the front bumper. The driver wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He watched as Xiao Chen got out of the car in a carefree manner. He couldn't figure it out no matter how he thought about it. In the end, he came to the conclusion that Xiao Chen's car must have been professionally modified. Even the wheels were changed to larger ones. Thinking of this, the driver felt balanced. He thought to himself that he couldn't be compared to a professional. It wasn't a problem with him or his car. However, Xiao Chen had already left. He entered the mall with Xiao Xiao and Li Xianer. While Xiao Xiao was trying on clothes, Li Xianer approached Xiao Chen. She lowered her voice and asked, unwilling to give up, "Are you still coveting my mantra? You want to learn it? Tell me the truth." "I'm really not. But if you insist on teaching me, then I can reluctantly learn it." Xiao Chen spread his hands and said, "Humph. In your dreams." Li Xianer said, "Stop dreaming. That's impossible. Then I don't want to learn it." Xiao Chen said, "Right, let me ask you something. You told me last time that you haven't seen other cultivators like you. Is that true?" "Yes, I really haven't seen them," Li Xianer said resolutely. Really? Xiao Chen always felt that Li Xianer seemed to be lying. This little girl looked very sincere. But in fact, he didn't know which of her words was true. Even her name might be fake. Xiao Chen believed it before. But later, when he saw the spirit of the fire attribute cultivator in the stone room under the volcano, Xiao Chen thought at that time, is there really no other cultivators in this world? He had met 3, so it was impossible to only have these 3, right? Elder Heaven Ancestor, and Xiaoma, the soul of the stone room. Including Li Xianer, there were 4. Li Xianer might know other cultivators, but she didn't tell him. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen knew that Li Xianer might not say anything even if he continued to ask. It was a way to get in touch with her slowly. If he could get in touch with Li Xianer's circle of friends, he could basically find out something. Chapter 795. Yes. Li Xianer nodded. Xiao Chang, why do you always care about these things? You seem to be very interested in cultivators. And I'm just curious. Xiao Chen smiled, then moved closer to Li Xianer's ear and whispered, "Let me tell you a secret. Actually, I'm also a cultivator." Xiao Chen's warm breath made Li Xianer a little uncomfortable. She couldn't help but blush. She snorted and took 2 steps back. "Liar. Hehe." Xiao Chen was about to say something when Xiao Xiao came out of the fitting room. She happened to see the scene of Xiao Chen whispering intimately to Li Xianer. She was very surprised. "Wow, brother, so you really want to pursue Li Xianer?" Xiao Xiao ran over exaggeratedly. "Ahem, it's nothing. I'm just asking her something," Xiao Chen said awkwardly. Li Xianer nodded hurriedly. "Yes, your brother is asking me something." "All right." Although Xiao Xiao said so, she didn't believe it. Not far away from the mall stood 2 people. Surprisingly, it was Wang Jinbrick, who had suffered a loss this morning, and Sun Wuming was standing beside him. Damn, Xiao Chen is so lucky with women. He's shopping with 2 beauties, Sun Wuming said enviously. He knew that Xiao Xiao was Xiao Chen's sister, but Li Xianer, who was as beautiful as Xiao Xiao, appeared. However, Li Xianer, whose beauty wasn't inferior to Xiao Xiao's, made him envious, and he also wanted to get his hands on her. Wang Jinbrick naturally saw through Sun Wuming's thoughts. As one of the leaders of the Black Grass Gang in Songning City, he had to talk to the Tsin family if he wanted to become the leader of the Songning branch. Currently, Most of the Black Grass Gang's affairs in Songning City were decided by Tsinjiajin. However, Tsinjiajin's status was too high. Wang Jinbrick couldn't say anything, so he used the morning's contact to curry favor with Tsin Wuming. Young Master Tsin, why don't I create some trouble and get those two girls to come here? Wang Jinbrick whispered. First, he wanted to teach Xiao Chen a lesson, and second, he could curry favor with Tsin Wuming. This won't do. Xiao Chen is a martial master. We can't fight him head-on. Tsin Wuming shook his head. He was still a very rational person, and there was no way he would lose his composure because of her beauty. Even I'm no match for her. If that's the case, Wang Jinbrick pinched his chin. Why don't I get someone to create something, so that these two girls will misunderstand and leave Xiao Chen? The one who was trying on the clothes just now is Xiao Chen's sister. It's useless for you to sow discord. But the pretty girl next to her, do you have any good ideas? In fact, if he could use some underhanded means to get Xiao Chen's girlfriend to play with, Tsin Wuming would also be happy to see it. And through his observation just now, he realized that this girl and Xiao Chen weren't particularly close. Didn't she blush when they whispered to each other? She might even be a virgin, and Xiao Chen hadn't gotten her yet. If that was the case, Tsin Wuming was even more interested. Moreover, this kind of girl wasn't close to Xiao Chen, and their relationship wasn't solid. A little trouble might be able to break them apart. I plan to. Wang Jinbrick whispered into Tsin Wuming's ear. Tsin Wuming pinched his chin and nodded with interest. Are you sure you can handle it? Don't worry. Although this mall isn't ours yet, we're still negotiating to buy it. It's just that we haven't agreed on the final price. But helping us is just a convenience, Wang Jinbrick said. Because Tsinjiajin didn't bring many people this time. The senior leaders of the Black Tsin gang also temporarily acted as errand boys and were responsible for some business. Of course, if they did good deeds, they would also be promoted accordingly. This mall happened to be Wang Jinbrick's responsibility, and he was very familiar with the staff here. Okay, then we'll do as you say. Tsin Wuming nodded. After Wang Jinbrick got the answer, he quickly went to do his work. On the other side, Xiao Chen was accompanying Li Xiener and Xiao Xiao to shop. But after visiting a few shops, Xiao Chen was really bored, so he said, Xiao Xiao, Xiener, you two go shopping. I'll sit here for a while. Because Xiao Xiao wanted to go to a place that specialized in selling women's underwear and panties, it wasn't appropriate for Xiao Chen to follow. All right. Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed. She had purposely wanted to go. Of course, it was also because Li Xiener wanted to buy these things as well. However, the main reason why Xiao Xiao had tagged along was because she wanted Xiao Chen to choose a few for her. However, Xiao Chen had rejected her, so she couldn't keep pestering him. How would an outsider like Li Xiener look at them? Wouldn't she look down on them? In order not to embarrass Xiao Chen, Xiao Xiao didn't insist and went with Li Xiener. In a clothing store that specialized in selling women's underwear, Xiao Xiao and Li Xiener chose their favorite styles, and then walked into the fitting room. Of course, this kind of clothes-fitting thing couldn't be tried on the body. Generally, it was measured on the body. When they all went in, Wang Jinbrick and a middle-aged man walked over quickly. The middle-aged man waved to the salesgirl standing on the side, signaling her to come over. Manager Yang. The salesgirl saw the middle-aged man and quickly walked over respectfully. The middle-aged man nodded and said, This gentleman asked you to do something, just do it. Okay, Manager Yang. The salesgirl nodded quickly. This Manager Yang was the manager in charge of the entire mall's clothing, so she naturally didn't dare to neglect him. Wang Jinbrick whispered a few words in her ear. The salesgirl hesitated after listening and looked at Manager Yang. Do as he said. I will give you a bonus this month, 10,000 yuan. Manager Yang said faintly. Yes. When the salesgirl heard that there was a bonus of 10,000 yuan, she immediately nodded and left. Wang Jinbrick's mouth flashed a smirk, then quietly left with the middle-aged man. He didn't forget to give Tsin Wuming a look. Who is Xiao Chen? Where's Xiao Chen? The female shop assistant ran to the resting area and shouted in a panic. She looked like she was about to explode. I am. What's the matter? Xiao Chen stood up with some doubts. He looked at the salesgirl he didn't know and didn't know why she was looking for him. Xiao Xiao fainted in the fitting room over there. Hurry up and come with me. The salesgirl said anxiously. What? Xiao Xiao fainted? Where? Xiao Chun subconsciously said anxiously after listening. Come with me. The shop assistant nodded, then quickly led the way in front of him. The salesgirl led Xiao Chun through many turns and came to an underwear store, which made Xiao Chun a little embarrassed. But because he was worried about Xiao Xiao, he didn't care about it. He was a little puzzled. Xiao Xiao was also a martial artist. How could she suddenly faint? Moreover, there was nothing wrong with Xiao Xiao, so it shouldn't be possible. Ah, isn't this student Xiao Chen? Why are you here? Xiao Chun was walking forward when a voice sounded beside him. He turned his head and saw that it was Xin Wuming. Xiao Chun frowned. Xin Wuming, what's the matter? What a joke. Is this shopping mall your home? Why can't I come? I didn't look for you. It was just a chance encounter. Xin Wuming looked at Xiao Chun with disdain. I was just casually greeting you. Don't treat my kindness as malicious intent. Oh, I have something to do now. I don't have time to bother with you. Go away, said Xiao Chun impatiently. Aha, but why did you come here? This is a forbidden place for men. Are you here to buy these underwear? Xin Wuming didn't leave, but followed Xiao Chun. He didn't forget to make a few sarcastic remarks about Xiao Chun. Then what are you doing here? Did you have surgery? Xiao Chun said coldly. I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you now. Go away. Huh, I came with my sister. What's the matter? Xin Wuming found an excuse for himself. In fact, he just wanted to witness Xiao Chen's embarrassment, and then find a chance to take advantage of Li Xiener. Then do whatever you want, Xiao Chen said impatiently. At this moment, he had already walked into the store. Xiao Chen glanced at the female shop assistant from before. Where's Xiao Xiao? In that fitting room. The female shop assistant pointed to a fitting room not far away. Oh, Xiao Chen walked over quickly, but after 2 steps, he stopped and frowned. Something's wrong. There seems to be a problem here. Previously, he was worried about Xiao Xiao's safety. Moreover, it was the female shop assistant who came to find him. He didn't think that there might be a problem. However, seeing that Xin Wuming was also here, Xiao Chen felt that it was a bit of a coincidence. After thinking about it carefully, the female shop assistant came to find Xiao Chen. How does she know that my name is Xiao Chen? According to her, Xiao Xiao was already unconscious. It was not a problem for the female shop assistant to know Xiao Xiao's name, because Li Xiener was also here, so she knew. It was also not a problem for her to know that he was in the rest area. However, the problem was that although Li Xiener already knew that his name was Xiao Chun from Xiao Xiao, she still habitually called him Xiao Chong. Especially in this kind of urgent situation, it was impossible for her to think about such things. She definitely blurted out Xiao Chong. The most important point was that Xiao Xiao was unconscious, so where did Li Xiener go? Where is she? Why is she waiting for me to go to the fitting room? Why didn't Li Xiener carry Xiao Xiao out earlier? Thinking of this, Xiao Chen's gaze flashed across the unlatched fitting room door. It was just an unlatched door, but as a cultivator, Xiao Chen could vaguely see that something was wrong inside. The person inside wasn't Xiao Xiao. Suddenly, Xiao Chen sneered and shouted, Xiao Xiao, are you okay? Then, he saw Xin Wuming rush over and kick open the fitting room door. That wasn't all. After he rushed in, he even moved his hands up and down. Then he came back to his senses and felt that his hands were pressing on something soft. Chapter 796. Xin Wuming's mind was under Xiao Chen's control, so he hadn't completely come back to his senses. He thought it was a dream and subconsciously pinched it. It seemed to feel good. Aha! As Xin Wuming entered the fitting room, a scream was heard, followed by a loud slap and a shrill cry. Xin Wuming, where are you? Come quickly, your sister is being molested. I'll fight it out with you, ah. The woman in the fitting room was naturally found by Wang Jinbrick. She was a delinquent and didn't know Xin Wuming at all. According to the script, she thought that the person who rushed in was Xiao Chun, so she immediately went into character and started acting. What the hell are you screaming for? Sun Wuming was about to explode. He originally wanted to frame Xiao Chun and make him a pervert who peeped at women changing clothes. Then, he would embarrass himself in front of Li Xianer. However, he couldn't understand why he had rushed into the fitting room in place of Xiao Chun. That wasn't all. The worst thing was that this woman actually shouted, "Sun Wuming, your sister is being molested." How could Sun Wuming endure that? Damn, Sun Wuming, you sure have a heavy taste, huh? Xiao Chen's eyes widened in shock. You peeped at your sister changing clothes? I really don't understand. Why didn't you peep at home? Why did you purposely come to the mall? Oh, I know, you must have been thinking of molesting your sister at home. So you came outside to peep. At this time, Li Xianer and Xiao Xiao were also startled by the screams and commotion outside. And they saw such a shocking scene. The little delinquent was naked from the waist up and dancing in front of Sun Wuming. She didn't care what Sun Wuming said. She was just acting according to the script, and she didn't stop. Hey, stop fooling around. Sun Wuming looked at the crazy delinquent, but he couldn't hit her. In public, everyone would see him rushing into the fitting room and molesting a girl. If he were to make a move, then he would be called a scoundrel, and his reputation would be ruined. Although Cin Jiajin didn't care about it, the Cin family did. The Cin family was going to enter Songning and replace the former Chung family as the #1 aristocratic family. If his reputation was ruined at this time, it would be a stain on his record. At that time, it would also affect Cin Jiajin's future competition for the position of the family head. Therefore, Sun Wuming had no choice but to explain while clutching his head. Even if he was a martial artist, it was useless because the other party was scratching him. As a martial artist, there was no way he could defend against it. Even if he put up a strong defense, his face would still be covered in blood. Stop messing around, I'm Sun Wuming. Sun Wuming shouted tragically, but why would the woman care about him? In the midst of the chaos, a group of security guards suddenly rushed into the underwear store, holding rubber rods in their hands. And the one who rushed in front was the middle-aged man from before, Manager Yang. Who called the security office? Where are the hooligans? Manager Yang asked arrogantly. However, before anyone answered, he pointed at Sun Wuming, who was being scratched by the delinquent girl, and said, "It's him. Everyone, go together and take him to the security office." Yes, the security guards obeyed the order, and a large group of people went up and surrounded Sun Wuming. At that time, although Wang Jinbrick knew that Xiao Chun was a master at the level of a martial artist, devil master. In his opinion, Xiao Chun acted like a hooligan in public, and he didn't dare to fight back when he was attacked by the security guards. After all, the security guards were innocent, and Xiao Chun wouldn't do such a thing. Of course, if Xiao Chun dared to do it, it wouldn't matter. He would hype up this matter and rely on it to attack the Xiao family. At that time, the Xiao family would be in a mess. The security guards rushed up and said that they would take him away. But in fact, they received Manager Yang's hint to beat Sun Wuming violently. Ouch, stop hitting me! Sun Wuming screamed. I'm Sun Wuming, don't hit me. I don't care who you are. Manager Yang only cared about beating people, but he didn't remember who Sun Wuming was. Moreover, Wang Jinbrick had instructed the female shop assistant in private, so Manager Yang didn't hear it clearly. What happened to him? Xiao Xiao knew Sun Wuming. He was the person who mocked Xiao Chun yesterday. Who knows? It seems like he peeped at his sister changing clothes, so he got beaten up. Xiao Chun shrugged. As for what Xiao Xiao fainted, he didn't want to say it. Now it seemed that it was Sun Wuming who did it. If he said it, it would only make Xiao Xiao worry, so it was better not to say it. Oh, so he's a pervert. Xiao Xiao nodded. Yeah, have you chosen your clothes? Let's go, don't care about him. Xiao Chun shook his head and said, I've chosen, brother. Xiao Xiao subconsciously wanted to show it to Xiao Chun, but she suddenly remembered that Li Xianer was still on the side, so she quickly changed her words. Brother, Xianer bought a lot of sexy lingerie. Do you want to see? I won't look. Xiao Chun quickly refused. Hee. Xiao Xiao smiled, but Li Xianer glared at her. The three of them walked out of the lingerie store together. From afar, Wang Jinbrick was waiting to see Xiao Chun get caught by the security guards. However, Xiao Chen saw it. However, he wasn't caught by the security guards. Instead, he was leisurely walking over with two beauties. Yo, isn't this that Wang? What's your name? Wang Jinbrick, right? Xiao Chen saw Wang Jinbrick, but he couldn't remember his name. This kind of small character wasn't worth remembering. TSK Tisk. What do you mean? Why did you come out? Are you okay? Wang Jinbrick didn't understand Xiao Chen's words, but he felt that it was incredible that nothing happened to Xiao Chen. What can't happen to me? Xiao Chen pretended to be puzzled. Oh, I remember. Your master, Sun Wuming, was beaten because he peeked at his sister changing clothes. AI, really? The misfortune of Jinwu's Sun family. What did you say? Wang Jinbrick was shocked after hearing it. He said subconsciously, this is impossible. If you don't believe it, then forget it. Let's go bye-bye. After Xiao Chen finished, he ignored Wang Jinbrick and walked away. Wang Jinbrick hesitated for a moment and quickly ran to the inner clothing store. From a distance, he saw a group of security guards beating a person, but he didn't know who it was. However, when he saw this scene, Wang Jinbrick's heart sank. He immediately quickened his pace and rushed over. Sure enough, he heard Sun Wuming scream. Stop. Wang Jinbrick was scared silly and quickly jumped out to stop them. Li Xianer came out this time to buy inner clothing. Now that she had bought it, there was nothing else to do. She followed Xiao Chen and Xiao Xiao out of the mall. She said, was that person coming for you? Do you have a grudge against him? It's not a grudge. It's all right. Xiao Chen said faintly. Compared to other grudges, the grudge between him and Sun Wuming was really nothing. If Sun Wuming was quiet, then Xiao Chen wouldn't take the initiative to find trouble with him. After all, he wasn't Xiao Chen's opponent. Oh, Li Xianer responded and didn't say anything else. What do you want to eat? I'll treat you. Xiao Chen looked at the time. It was almost noon. No, you brought me out to buy things and paid for me. It's my treat. Li Xianer said. She didn't want to owe Xiao Chen too much. She still felt that Xiao Chen wanted to learn cultivation from her, not to pursue her. With Xiao Chen's qualifications, there were plenty of beautiful women he wanted. There was no need for him to waste his energy on himself. Moreover, if it wasn't their second meeting, the first time Xiao Chen saved the damsel in distress would have been the best time for him to get close to Li Xianer. At that time, Xiao Chen almost didn't pay much attention to her. He didn't even talk to her. So Li Xianer was sure that Xiao Chen definitely wasn't pursuing her. You treat. Xiao Chen was a little surprised, but he still said, okay, then we'll eat whatever you say. Okay, I say you drive. Li Xianer nodded. No problem. Xiao Chen started the car and drove according to the route Li Xianer indicated. However, what made Xiao Chen dumbfounded was that the place they came to wasn't a restaurant, but a supermarket. Is there anything delicious here? It's so remote here. Xiao Xiao looked at the supermarket outside with some confusion. The location of this supermarket was already close to shanty town, and the level of consumption shouldn't be high. Because the cars in the parking lot weren't full, and there weren't many good cars, Xiao Chen's car was the best here. Yes, this is it. Li Xianer nodded affirmatively and said, let's go in. Xiao Chen thought, is there a snack in the supermarket? Xiao Chen knew that in some supermarkets, there would be some snacks. Although the price wasn't high, the taste was delicious. The two people followed Li Xianer all the way into the supermarket. But what made Xiao Chen even more surprised was that Li Xianer didn't take them to any snacks. But she directly found a cart and took them to the entrance of the supermarket. Are we going to the supermarket? Xiao Xiao asked, baffled. At this time, Xiao Chen had already guessed the general situation. Li Xianer was a thrifty chick. She probably wanted to buy something to cook herself, so that she could save a lot of money. Sure enough, he heard Li Xianer say, I plan to cook something for you, but you don't have to worry. My cooking skills are not worse than those top chefs in the restaurant. Really? Xiao Xiao was looking forward to it after listening. Although she didn't spend much time with Li Xianer, Xiao Xiao knew that Li Xianer shouldn't be the kind of girl who lied. If she said that the food was better than the restaurant chefs, then it shouldn't be bad. Of course. Li Xianer nodded proudly. Then we'll wait and see. Xiao Chen smiled and followed in. Without asking Xiao Chun, Li Xianer bought her own food. However, Xiao Chun found that the prices in this supermarket were much cheaper. When he was in Lan City, he often went to the supermarket to buy vegetables for Su Chuxia and Tian Suru. In contrast, the prices here were very affordable. Chapter 797. Li Xianer bought a lot of ingredients, but she only spent more than 100 yuan in the end. If the three of them went to the hotel to eat these, it would cost at least 400 or 500 yuan. When paying the bill, Xiao Chun didn't fight for it. Instead, he gave Li Xianer the opportunity, but then he helped Li Xianer carry the things. Although he knew that Li Xianer was a cultivator, and carrying these things was definitely not tiring, he felt that these things were better for a man to carry. After getting in the car, the three people went all the way to Shanty Town. In fact, Li Xianer didn't need to say anything. Xiao Chun drove the car here. This was the first time that Xiao Chun came to Li Xianer's house. Previously, Li Xianer didn't seem to want Xiao Chun to know where she was. But now, it was unknown whether it was because Xiao Chun was too active, but Li Xianer was not so guarded against Xiao Chun. It seemed that she wanted to see what Xiao Chun wanted to do. The three people walked in Shanty Town. But what surprised Xiao Chun was that he actually saw Kerlin's family coming back from closing up the stall. Kerlin was pushing the cart behind. When she saw Xiao Chun and the others, she was slightly surprised. Then there was a flash of loss or disappointment on her face. Xiao Chun was still the same as before. He was so fickle. He actually hooked up with two great beauties at once. Although Kerlin didn't know one of them, she knew that she also lived in Shanty Town and could see her sometimes. She didn't know the other one, but she was as beautiful as Li Xianer. Kerlin, why did you close up the stall? Xiao Chun naturally saw Kerlin, so he walked over and asked curiously. Mom said to go back and clean up. In the afternoon, we will go to the new venue. She just came back to replenish some ingredients. Kerlin explained. Oh, let me help you push, Xiao Chun said as he wanted to push the cart. No, I won't bother you anymore. You should get busy with your own things. Kerlin quickly shook her head. I can do it myself. When Kerlin saw the two beauties, she felt a little ashamed. She felt that Xiao Chun came to help her, and the two beauties looked at her differently, so she quickly refused. She didn't want to be hated by others, and make them feel like she was trying to steal someone else's boyfriend. It's just something along the way. Xiao Chun walked over without any explanation, and helped Lin Kuer push the cart. I really don't need it. Hurry up and accompany your girlfriend, Kerlin whispered. Oh, one of them is my sister, and the other is my sister's classmate, Xiao Chun said. Not my girlfriend. Oh, she didn't know why, but Kerlin seemed to be relieved, but she didn't know whether she was relieved or not. She didn't know why. Xiao Chun pushed the cart all the way to the door of Kerlin's house. Then he said goodbye to Lin father and Lin mother and left. Kerlin pursed her lips. In the end, she didn't invite Xiao Chun into the house to drink a glass of water. Kuer, Xiao Chun is very good to you. Mother Lin was listening to the conversation between the two people. When Xiao Chun left, she immediately asked. Oh, Kerlin didn't know what her mother meant. Do you like him too? Mother Lin suddenly asked. I don't. Kerlin shook her head in a hurry. If you don't like him, why are you jealous? I can see it. When you saw the two girls, you were a little unhappy. Then, when you heard that they are Xiao Chun's sister and his sister's classmate, you became happy again. Mother Lin observed very carefully. I didn't. Kerlin was embarrassed. Mom supports you being together with Xiao Chun. You're about to go to university, so you should consider dating. Mother Lin said to Lin Kuer with a serious expression. But he has a girlfriend. And not just one. He has a fiancé. Kerlin shook her head. I see. Mother Lin was a little surprised. Really? How can there be several? He has a fiancé. How old is he? He already has a fiancé. Don't lie to Mom. Mom, in fact, Xiao Chun is the young master of the Xiao family in Songning. Have you heard of the Xiao family? Kerlin had to say. It's the Xiao family that has been discussed recently, and is expected to become the first family in Songning. What? Mother Lin was completely shocked this time. You said that Xiao Chun is the young master of the Xiao family? Are you kidding? The young master is selling fried dough sticks? Is he here to experience life? There were some problems in the Xiao family before, but now it's all good. Kerlin shook her head. I'm not lying to you. Tang Tang is also a member of the aristocratic Tang family. It's also because of some problems in the family that she is self-reliant. And she is Xiao Chen's girlfriend. Xiao Chen also has a fiancé named Cheng Minjing. She was once a member of the Cheng family, the first aristocratic family in Songning. Mother Lin felt that the aristocratic families were unattainable. She usually only heard about the legends after meals, but she didn't expect to know someone from the aristocratic families. But thinking about it, the aristocratic families were really not ordinary. A young master had several girlfriends, and he even had a fiancé. But thinking about it, she heard that those aristocratic families practiced ancient martial arts. They all maintained the ancient style, which couldn't be measured by the rules of the secular world. So Mom, you don't have to say it. First of all, I don't want to compete with other girls, and I can't compete. Kerlin said. Second of all, my family background is not high enough. They may not really like me. Maybe they just want to play around. I'm not that stupid. And I'm not that unclean. That might not necessarily be the case. I often watch palace dramas and TV dramas with big courtyards. Even if she knew which one it was, it didn't matter. Li Xiener's house was a bungalow, but the yard was very well maintained. There were exquisite fences and clusters of nursery beds, in which all kinds of medicinal herbs were planted. Xiao Chen was a little surprised, similar to Yi Xiaoyes. In the yard, there was a cute curly-haired dog. Generally, people who lived in bungalows had dogs, so it was not unusual. However, this puppy was quite cute and clean, which was a little surprising. It seemed that it often bathed and took care of itself. However, what surprised Xiao Chen more was that this puppy had a faint aura similar to that of Invincible Dog. Could it be that it was also influenced by the herb garden? It's a little small, don't mind it. Li Xian opened the door and invited Xiao Chun and Xiao Xiao in. It was a small house with 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. The area was not big, but the inside was as clean and tidy as the outside. It's very nice, very warm. Xiao Xiao praised. She had also been to bungalows, but the impression that they usually gave her was that they were shabby and dirty. However, Li Xiener's house was not like that. Hee. I just clean up when I have nothing to do. Li Xiener smiled and said, I'll go and cook. You guys take a rest. I'll help you. Xiao Xiao was embarrassed to sit and wait to eat, so she said, I'll help too. Xiao Chen said, You two can cook too. Li Xiener shook her head. All right, you 2 young masters and young ladies. Don't be a hindrance to me. Don't look down on people. My brother used to sell youtiao in the morning market. At that time, there was a long line to buy it. Xiao Xiao said unconvincingly. It's more like I don't know how to cook. I'll just help you wash the vegetables and help you. My brother is amazing. Are you serious? Xiao Chen, you also sold youtiao? Li Xiener was surprised. Otherwise, how did I know Kerlin? My previous youtiao stall is now given to her. Xiao Chen nodded affirmatively. Chapter 798. That's fine. How about this? You make a dish that you're good at, and you can do it yourself. I'll do the rest myself. Let's see who can cook better. Li Xiener didn't seem to want Xiao Chun to participate in her cooking process. Oh, I'm good at everything. I'll do what you're not good at. Xiao Chun said. You're bragging. Li Xiener was amused when she heard it. I'm good at everything too. Then let's split it in half. Xiao Chun smiled. It's faster this way. Otherwise, when will you finish buying so many things? That's fine too. Li Xiener thought about it and agreed. Anyway, she had 2 stoves at home. So Xiao Chun, Xiao Xiao, and Li Xiener went to the kitchen and got busy. Although the kitchen was small, it was very lively. Xiao Xiao was responsible for washing the vegetables. Xiao Chun and Li Xiener chose the ingredients separately. However, when it came to cutting vegetables, Li Xiener didn't let Xiao Chun and Xiao Xiao intervene. She did it herself. Li Xiener's skillful cutting skills surprised Xiao Chun, And Xiao Chen's skills surprised Li Xianer too. It seemed that they weren't bragging. At least, the level of cutting was comparable to that of a big restaurant. Hua. The two's first dish was put into the pot almost at the same time. As the aroma filled the air, of course, some dishes didn't necessarily taste good just because they smelled good. The amount of seasoning also affected most of the taste. Both of them were making home-cooked dishes, but the difficulty was quite high. The more ordinary a dish was, the more one could distinguish who was better. Xiao Chen made Sanxian Di, and Li Xianer made double-cooked pork. These two dishes were both chef assessment dishes. However, it was obvious that the color and aroma of the two dishes were comparable. They were quickly placed on the table, and the second dish continued. Both of them were very fast. In about an hour, 12 dishes were placed on the table in order, and the aroma filled the air. Gosh, you two will definitely be popular if you open a restaurant. Xiao Xiao drooled and praised. Hee, if I live in seclusion one day, I might really want to open a restaurant, but I don't know who can accompany me through this long life. Li Xianer said with some emotion. As a cultivator, her lifespan was very long. If she had nothing else to do, Li Xianer really planned to open a small shop and spend the long years there. However, in her eyes, the person who would protect her was definitely not Xiao Chen. Although Xiao Chen was a top warrior, and his lifespan had been extended, the difference between him and a cultivator was too great. Unless Xiao Chen's martial arts had reached the pinnacle, he wouldn't be able to make up for this gap. My brother. Xiao Xiao subconsciously felt that Li Xianer was confessing her love. In fact, it sounded like it. In this kind of situation and tone, only Xiao Chen was suitable for her choice. Li Xianer was stunned. She had only subconsciously sighed. She didn't expect Xiao Xiao to directly say such a sentence. She suddenly felt a little awkward. Xiao Xiao, your brother and I are not suitable. Yes, she is so guarded against me. It's meaningless for me to be with her. In fact, Xiao Chen was considering whether he should talk to Li Xianer about the fact that they were both cultivators. After all, it was not a good idea to be so guarded against her. However, out of caution, Xiao Chen restrained himself from this idea. Li Xianer could only be regarded as a beginner, but Xiao Chen was already an expert in the great completion of foundation establishment stage, and would soon break through to the gold core stage. This level was already not weak. He was not afraid that after telling Li Xianer, she would ask him for advice. He was mainly afraid that she would leak the secret. What if there was a cultivator behind Li Xianer? What if others knew? What if there was a more powerful existence? These were all things that Xiao Chen had to consider carefully. For this cultivation girl whom he had only met a few times, Xiao Chen couldn't tell her the truth. Xiao Chen was not stupid. TSK, you can't even think about it. Li Xianer curled her lips, as if she was implying something. Of course, Xiao Chen understood that he wanted to secretly learn about cultivation. I'm afraid that you will rely on me, Xiao Chen said. Only a ghost would rely on you. Li Xianer curled her lips. You don't say. I really know ghosts. Xiao Chen looked at Li Xianer with a faint smile. Ahem, don't talk about those things. Li Xianer warned. Oh. Xiao Chen shrugged indifferently. However, Xiao Xiao was very curious. Brother, what's the matter? There seems to be a secret between you two. Actually, there isn't. I just met her accidentally once. She was dressed like a ghost. Xiao Chen said. Of course, he didn't mean to lie to Xiao Xiao, but Li Xianer was also there, so he couldn't say it in detail. Li Xianer bared her teeth and wanted to bite Xiao Chen to death, but she couldn't refute it. Even if she refuted it, Xiao Xiao would still be confused. It was better to admit it directly. When the dishes were served, the three of them sat around. Try my cooking. Li Xianer changed the topic. My cooking is top-notch. Let's try my brother's first. Xiao Xiao picked up the sanxian made by Xiao Chen and put it in her mouth. Then she said in surprise, Brother, the dishes you make are really super delicious. Of course, why would I lie to you? Xiao Chen smiled. Hey. Try mine too. Mine is better than his. Li Xianer was a little unhappy. She said that she would treat, but now it was Xiao Chen who was in the limelight. However, she was confident because she added ingredients in the dishes she made. No matter how great the chef, Xiao Chen, was, or how he was comparable to the chefs in five-star hotels, it was useless. There was a natural gap. Okay. Xiao Xiao picked up the yuxiang shredded pork, made by Li Xiener with her chopsticks. The taste was really good, so she praised. It's delicious and not bad. This is the best yuxiang shredded pork I've ever eaten. There is no other. Right. Li Xiener was very proud. Then between your brother and me, who's better at cooking? This it's hard to say. They're both delicious. Xiao Xiao thought about it and said, there has to be a winner, right? Li Xiener asked persistently. Isn't it simple? There's a dish that we prepared a little too many ingredients. We'll each make a plate, and let Xiao Xiao have a taste. Whoever is the best will be the best. Xiao Chun smiled as he pointed at the plate of shredded potatoes on the table. This was the simplest dish, but it was not easy to make it well. It had to be sour, spicy, and crispy. The heat and knife skills were very important. Because there were more potatoes, both of them took some, and made shredded potatoes, so they overlapped. That's a good idea. Li Xiener also agreed. Only two of the same dishes can tell which is better. Xiao Xiao, try it now. Xiao Xiao took a bite of Xiao Chen's shredded potatoes. After tasting it for a while, she took a bite of Li Xiener's. Both kinds of shredded potatoes seemed to be delicious. But after tasting it, she finally hesitated for a while and said, it seems that my brother's is better. Impossible. Li Xiener suddenly became anxious and stared at Xiao Xiao. You can't be biased just because he is your brother. I'm really not biased. Xiao Xiao shook her head and said, if you don't believe me, try it yourself. Then I'll try it myself. Li Xiener said as she picked up the chopsticks and took a bite of Xiao Chen's shredded potatoes. At first, she didn't think much of it, but after chewing it twice, her face suddenly became very interesting, revealing an incredible shock. How can it be so delicious? But I believe that mine is better. After Li Xiener finished speaking, she took a bite of the shredded potatoes she made. Although it was also very delicious, her six senses were also very sharp. She immediately noticed the subtle difference. Xiao Xiao tasted the problem after eating a few bites, but Li Xiener knew that Xiao Chen's was better than hers after only one bite. She was a little unwilling, so she tasted it again. The result was still the same. The shredded potatoes made by Xiao Chun are indeed better than mine. Do you believe me now? Looking at Li Xiener's expression, Xiao Chun knew that she must have acquiesced to his opinion. How can this be? Xiao Chun, how did you do it? How can you make it better than me? Li Xiener looked at Xiao Chun incredulously. What's wrong with that? I'm a professional chef. I've said it before. It's normal for your level to be worse than mine. Xiao Chun smiled disapprovingly. But, Li Xiener hesitated for a long time, but she didn't know what to say. Could it be that I added primordial energy to the food? In this way, it would definitely be more delicious than those five-star hotels. But it wasn't good to say this in front of Xiao Xiao. She could only glare at Xiao Chun with hatred. Okay, is it more meaningful than these things? Let's eat quickly. It's getting cold. Xiao Chun smiled and said, although Li Xiener's level is a little worse than mine, it's still very good. Li Xiener was dissatisfied. It must be a coincidence. I'll try other dishes. After Li Xiener finished speaking, she began to eat other dishes made by Xiao Chun. However, after eating a circle, she was shocked. She could also make these dishes, but she had to admit that the taste was different from Xiao Chen's. It was just that she couldn't understand why she obviously added primordial energy to the food, but it was not as good as Xiao Chen's. Of course, how could she know that she, a beginner cultivator, was comparable to the foundation establishment stage's great perfection? After eating the food made by Xiao Chun, Li Xiener was a little dispirited. She didn't talk much during the meal, but Xiao Xiao ate happily. Xiao Chun also ate a lot. Okay, we've all eaten. You cooked well too. Xiao Chun looked at Li Xiener's sullenness, and he was amused. Cultivators also have the temper of a little girl. Of course, Xiao Chun knew why Li Xiener was unhappy, but what could her meager primordial energy do? After lunch, Xiao Chun and Xiao Xiao also said goodbye. They also saw that Li Xiener was not in a good mood, and didn't want to talk much. Naturally, they didn't stay any longer. They said goodbye and left Shanty Town. Chapter 799. After Xiao Chun and Xiao Xiao left, Li Xian'er picked up her chopsticks again in surprise, and carefully tasted the dishes made by Xiao Chun. To be honest, she really felt that the dishes made by Xiao Chun were more delicious. However, this made her feel that it was unlikely. The seasonings were all there, and there was nothing special about them. Of course, this wasn't the key point. The key point was that she secretly added the seasonings. Could it be that Xiao Chun also had some seasonings on him and secretly added them when I wasn't paying attention? Thinking of this, Li Xian'er couldn't help but feel that it was very likely. This guy wouldn't use some harmful seasonings like big tobacco shells, right? Li Xian'er quickly and carefully ate a few more mouthfuls of the dishes made by Xiao Chun, but then she immediately denied this idea. Xiao Chun and Xiao Xiao also ate. If he really added these, why would they eat it themselves? Moreover, Li Xian'er was also confident that she could taste something different. In addition to the aroma of the food itself, there was no other smell at all. It seemed that Xiao Chun really controlled the food well, and brought out the greatest aroma of the food itself. Alas, this made Li Xian'er very sad. Originally, she thought that she was invincible in these aspects, because she was a cultivator. She didn't know that it was not the case at all. Shaking her head, Li Xian'er began to pack up her things. In her heart, she was still thinking about the purpose of Xiao Chun approaching her. She was a little regretful that she admitted that she was a cultivator in front of Xiao Chun. One had to know that cultivators were a very secretive group. Under normal circumstances, they couldn't be disclosed to outsiders. Therefore, after Li Xian'er said her own things, she didn't mention anything else. When Xiao Chun and Xiao Xiao arrived home, they saw that the people of the Xie family and the Yu family were still busy at home. It seemed that the battle with the Tsin family of real martial arts would not end in the next few days. However, Xiao Chun didn't want to participate in these business matters. It was enough for the Xie family to handle these business matters. In the mall, Tsin Wuming was beaten up quite badly. Although he wasn't injured, his face was bruised. In the security room, he was about to go crazy. What the F***ck, Wang Jinbrick, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? You tricked me? Wang Jinbrick was also very innocent. He didn't know that Tsin Wuming would rush in, but he didn't dare to say it. He could only lower his head and apologize. I'm sorry, young Master Xin. It's my fault. And you? I already told you that I'm Tsin Wuming, and you're still scratching me? Scratch, 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 are you crazy? Tsin Wuming didn't care if anyone was there or not. He tore off the girl's clothes like a madman. I'm spying on you? Fine, I still want to F***ck you. The young female delinquent was so scared that she didn't dare to make a sound. She was just an outer member of the Black Crow's gang. How would she know that she had scratched the young master of the Black Crow's gang? This was really courting death, but she was also a little excited. Being able to have a relationship with Tsin Wuming, didn't that mean that she could have a meteoric rise in the future? Of course, she didn't take the initiative. She just cooperated with Tsin Wuming in a pitiful manner. Manager Yang stood at the side, feeling a little awkward. He kept wiping his cold sweat. The business negotiation in the mall had entered the final step. It was going to be the Tsin family's property soon. In the end, he wanted to please the new owner, but he didn't get to do so. He hoped that after Tsin Wuming vented on this young female delinquent, he would be able to calm down. This young female delinquent used to be a prostitute. She knew all kinds of tricks like the back of her hand. At this moment, she displayed 120% of her ability and served Tsin Wuming very happily. And not bad. Tsin Wuming hugged the young female delinquent and leaned on the sofa. He had a cigarette in his mouth and asked faintly, "Tell me, how do you want to deal with that Xiao Chun?" Wang Jinbrick was also in a difficult position. Today's plan had failed. It would be even more difficult to deal with Xiao Chun. Not only did they not have a chance, but most importantly, he was prepared and wouldn't be easily fooled. Forget it. That's all you can do. Tsin Wuming was in a good mood, so he didn't blame Wang Jinbrick too much. In fact, he knew in his heart that he wanted to see Xiao Chun make a fool of himself. As a result, he didn't know why his mind wasn't clear at that time. He rushed in himself. He really couldn't blame others for this. In the end, it was his own problem, so he let it go. He hugged the young female delinquent and went out of the office. He said, "You are busy. Forget about today's matter." "Thank you, young Masterson." Wang Jinbrick and manager Yang quickly thanked him. In the next few days, Xiao Chun lived at home. He didn't go to school because there were no familiar people there. Instead, it became a sad place. When he went there and saw Tsun Wuming fooling around with Xiao Chun, he was even more upset. Every day, he would send Xiao Xiao to school and then go home to rest. But sometimes after school, he saw Li Xiener and Xiao Xiao coming out together. So he would send Li Xiener back to Shantytown. What surprised Xiao Chun was that Xiao Xiao and Li Xiener had become good friends. They were often together. In fact, the reason was very simple. Xiao Xiao's previous good sister was with her boyfriend every day, and she had no time to play with Xiao Xiao. So Xiao Xiao had been playing with Li Xiener recently. "Right. When are you going to demolish this place?" Xiao Chun asked as he looked at the dilapidated shantytown. The developer came to talk a few times, but although this is the suburbs, the housing price is not cheap. So everyone united to resist the developer's compensation price. The developer felt that if the compensation was too high, their profit would be less. There was no need to waste effort to develop here, so they delayed it again and again. "There is no news now," Li Xiener said. Xiao Chun nodded. In recent years, with the rise of the real estate industry, many families wanted to make a fortune through the demolition, but this was understandable. The developer valued the overall profit. Once the demolition cost increased, it was normal for them to give up. Several large real estate companies in Songning City used to be in the hands of a few big families. There was no need to engage in violent demolition. If there was no money to make, they would naturally give up. "Then we will go first," Xiao Chun said. "Right, now that you mention it, I remember. I heard that a new developer wants to develop Shantytown in Songning. I guess there will be news in a few days," Li Xiener said. "Hee, what will you do after you get the compensation?" asked Xiao Chun. "I actually don't want to demolish, because I like to plant some herbs in the yard. You know, we martial artists need these to practice," Li Xiener said. "If I move away, I can't buy a similar house." Oh, Xiao Chun remembered that Li Xiener was a cultivator, so he said, "I still have a villa. It is currently empty. If you have no place to go, you can live there." "Live in your villa?" Li Xiener's eyes widened. "You want to maintain me? You think too much. I'm just lending it to you. If you don't want to, you can pay the rent." Xiao Chun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Li Xiener's thinking was jumping. "Oh, I'm willing. Since it's not maintenance, it's fine," Li Xiener said. "Don't think about having any bad intentions towards me. You know my background. Don't blame me if you die early." "Humph." Hee. Xiao Chun smiled. "Brother, what are you talking about? Why do I always feel that you two are hiding something from me?" Xiao Xiao asked after Li Xiener left. "It's nothing. She is also a superpower user. She asked me to keep this a secret," Xiao Chun said. "So she also calls herself a martial artist." "I see." Xiao Xiao nodded and returned to the Xiao family with Xiao Chun. In the shopping mall of Songning, there was a rumor recently that the prosperous era of the Xiao family was about to change. Extreme prosperity is bound to decline, and extreme things can only go in the opposite direction. Don't look at how the Xiao family rose up quickly, but it also died quickly. Many people were sighing. No matter how powerful the Xiao family was, it was just an ordinary aristocratic family. This couldn't be changed. However, the Tsin family was a martial arts aristocratic family. The two weren't on the same level. They couldn't be compared at all. Chapter 800. That's possible, but the Xiao family's business isn't just a small amount. After all, we have acquired a lot of companies during this period. If we acquire more, Tsin Jiajin hesitated before saying. Haha, Director Tsin, don't worry. The Xiao family is losing money every day. They can't hold on any longer. What good price can they ask for? Besides, if we don't acquire them, they will go bankrupt. There's nothing else. The assistant analyzed, and the price is cheap. Director Tsin, you can talk to the family. I believe the family will increase the investment. This will also show your ability. What you said makes sense. Sun Jiajin was tempted. Indeed, the investment to acquire the Xiao family would not be small. But he had the Sun family as his backing. By then it would be his credit. His authority in the family would increase. Previously, he only planned to use the existing funds. After all, the funds he brought from the family to develop Songning were running out. He wanted to use it accordingly. But after listening to the assistant, he was enlightened. In fact, although Sun Jiajin received a comprehensive education in a real family, it was his first time doing business alone. It was inevitable that there were many unexpected things. This is all thanks to Director Tsun's good leadership. Oh yeah, when are we going to talk to the Xiao family? The assistant couldn't wait. It would be good for him to settle this matter. Let's do it this way. Investigate again, and see if they are really at the end of their rope. We have to wait until they can't hold on any longer. Then we can take them down in one fell swoop. Sun Jiajin ordered. No problem. Although the assistant said so, it was harder than ascending to heaven for him to investigate the Xiao family's situation. They were all experienced people. They had tried to bribe a few people from the Xiao family to investigate the internal situation, but they didn't succeed. Moreover, the assistant was eager for quick results. He didn't dare to tell Sun Jiajin that he failed to bribe the opponent. He could only rely on his own subjective judgment to guess the opponent's situation. Of course, he also asked Wang Jinbrick to find a few gangsters to investigate. The result was the same as his guess. The Xiao family's business was deserted. In actual fact, those hoodlums didn't even go. They took the money and went to enjoy themselves. It wasn't easy for them to come over from the Black Crows gang's headquarters and become a big shot. Shouldn't they hurry and enjoy themselves? Who would have the time to do the work of a private detective? When Wang Jinbrick gave his orders, the gangsters also followed his orders. In the end, the outer members received a salary of 2.5 strings. Who would take it seriously? As a result, it caused the assistant to make a serious error in judgment. Of course, it was also related to his desire for grandiose achievements. 3 days later, Sun's Holdings issued a joint statement, deciding to fully acquire the Xiao family's assets. Of course, this was also after Sun Jiajin had received confirmation from his subordinates that his hotel was indeed overcrowded, and his store's goods were indeed in short supply. With these two premises, Sun Jiajin was instantly filled with confidence. As far as he was concerned, as long as he bought over the Xiao family's hotel and shopping center and restored the original price, he would be able to make a lot of money and earn back all his previous investments. All the major mainstream media in Songning City were reporting this shocking news for a while. Of course, these were all gossips in the streets. The ones who were most shocked were the aristocratic families. Including the Xiao family, Xie family, and Yu family, they were all shocked. Since when did the Xiao family's business become so bleak? When did they agree to let the Sun family acquire it? What was this all about? In the Xiao family's living room, Xiao Hai, Yunan, and Xia Huang sat together. Beside them were Xiao Chun and Xiao Xiao. Originally, Xiao Chun didn't want to participate in this kind of meeting, but he was dragged in to make up the numbers. Yu Xiaochuan sat on the other side of Xiao Chun, looking a little excited. It wasn't because of the meeting, but because he was excited to be able to sit together with Xiao Chun. Is the Sun family crazy, releasing this news out of nowhere? What does everyone think? Xiao Hai seemed very angry, because this news was released by the Sun family alone. They didn't contact the Xiao family beforehand, and they didn't reach any consensus. How could Xiao Hai not be angry? Yes, this situation is very disadvantageous to the Xiao family, especially those who don't know the truth. They will be wary of the Xiao family's businesses. Xia Huang nodded and said, "Take the hotel industry for example. Those who have been there are fine. But those who haven't will think, if it's going to close down and be acquired, will they still clean the rooms? Will their service attitude be good? Yes, it's the same for the stores. At that time, everyone will think, are we selling expired products without after-sales protection? Anyway, when the time comes, they will be acquired by a new boss. Who knows, they might not even recognize the old products." Yunan also nodded and said, "However, I think this is the effect that the Sun family wants. The acquisition might be fake, and the purpose is to attack us. Now that you put it that way, it might be possible. Xiao Hai nodded. If this was a business attack, then it could explain why the Tsin family didn't have any news about it. Nor did they contact the Xiao family before releasing such a heavy bomb. I think we can only deal with the changes by staying the same, Xia Huang said. After all, in this situation we can't do anything. If we come forward to refute the rumors, people will say that we are trying to cover up. Nowadays, many business acquisitions will not admit it until the last moment. Instead, they will try their best to deny it. This way, regardless of whether the acquisition is successful or not, they will be in an invincible position. On the contrary, the acquiring party doesn't care. The higher the profile, the better. Even if it doesn't succeed, it's not a big deal. Yes. And we can't say that we want to counter-acquire the Tsin family's businesses. If we do, people will think that we are crazy. Yunnan sighed. Xiao Chen, what do you think? Xiao Hai had a headache, so he looked at Xiao Chen. In my opinion, counter-acquisition is fine too. This Tsin family of Zhenwu is so annoying. We might as well just acquire them. Xiao Chen didn't understand business operations, so he just said whatever he thought. Xiao Hai couldn't say anything about Xiao Chen, and Xia Huang couldn't say anything either. However, Yunnan and Xiao Chen didn't have much of a relationship, so he wanted to explain to Xiao Chen. If he did that, it would become a war of words, and others would only look down on him. However, before Yunnan could speak, Yu Xiaochuan slammed the table and shouted, "Yes, let's buy them. How dare he challenge Brother Xiao? I'll scratch him to death." Yunnan looked at his problematic child, and could only shut his mouth. If he said anything, it would mean that the father and son didn't get along, and that would be a bigger problem. The meeting basically set the tone for the time being, which was to ignore everything and run their own business. After a long time, the rumors about the Tsin family would collapse on their own. Although there might be some impact on the business during this period, the impact wouldn't be huge, because the Tsin family's hotel near the Xiao family's hotel had been booked by the Xiao family's employees, and the goods in the store were all sold out. So basically, if the customers didn't come, the Xiao family had nowhere to go. They could only go to places further away. However, something that Xiao Chen, or the Xiao family, the Xie family, and the Yu family didn't expect happened. On this day, when Xiao Chen had just woken up, and Xiao Xiao hadn't woken up yet, there was a hurried knock on the door. Xiao Chen was slightly stunned and asked, "Who is it? What's the matter?" "Xiao Chen, it's your second uncle. Open the door." The voice of his second uncle, Xiao Hai, came from outside the door. Xiao Chen was shocked. He could hear that his second uncle's tone was very hurried. He and Xiao Xiao slept together every day secretly. They didn't tell the family, and Xiao Hai was also busy with business matters, so he didn't pay attention to it. Although there was nothing between the two of them, Xiao Xiao was a young lady living in Xiao Chen's villa every day. If this spread out, it would make people's imaginations run wild, especially Xiao Hai. So, Xiao Chen subconsciously thought that his second uncle had discovered something. "Open the door. Something's wrong," Xiao Hai said in an unfriendly tone. "All right," Xiao Chen said. "If she died, then so be it." He couldn't explain it even if he wanted to. After Xiao Xiao took a bath last night, she didn't wear any clothes when she went to bed. Although Xiao Chen had been sitting at the side and cultivating, if Xiao Hai found out, would he believe that nothing happened between the two of them? Xiao Chen had already guessed that his second uncle was probably here to interrogate him. He opened the door with trepidation. "Second uncle, it's so early in the morning." "Brother, what's wrong? Who's knocking on the door so early in the morning?" Xiao Xiao was woken up by the noise. She walked out in a daze with a blanket draped over her, yawning. Obviously, she hadn't noticed her father outside the door. Xiao Hai looked at Xiao Xiao. Actually, from Xiao Xiao's smooth calves, he could tell that she wasn't wearing any clothes under the blanket. Even if she was wearing underwear, Xiao Hai only took a glance and didn't say anything. Instead, he said to Xiao Chen, "Xiao Chen, there's an emergency that I want to discuss with you. After all, your current status and identity are different from before. You should be the one making the decisions for the Xiao family." "What do I have to make the decisions for?" What emergency? Xiao Chun was a little stunned. This wasn't what he had expected. He thought that his second uncle would flip out, especially when Xiao Xiao walked out just now. He subconsciously thought that he was going to die. Just when he was worried, Xiao Hai said such a strange thing. It's like this. A person called Sun Jiajin came to the headquarters of the Xiao family group. This person is the person in charge of the Sun family in Songning City. He brought a few subordinates and said that he wanted to discuss the acquisition of our hotel and store. Xiao Hai said. Not only that, there were also a lot of news media gathered downstairs. They said that they wanted to interview us. If it wasn't for the security downstairs stopping them, they would have come up. What the hell? Did the Sun family take the wrong medicine? Xiao Chun only then understood that this had nothing to do with Xiao Xiao. It was the Sun family's doing. Xiao Chun suddenly got angry. Damn it, this Sun Jiajin and his son are not good people. Doing this in the morning, this guy scared me. End of Volume 2. Chapter 801. I don't know. Xia Huang and Yunnan are in the company. The situation is very chaotic now. So I want to ask Xiao Chun, what's your plan? Xiao Hai said. Second uncle, what did you decide before? Before you ask me, you should have already decided on how to deal with it, right? Xiao Chun hesitated and asked. As long as he didn't come to pursue Xiao Zhao's matter, it was fine. Or second uncle didn't have the mind to think about Xiao Zhao's matter at all. When he came back to his senses, maybe he would come to settle the score. But in any case, there was no problem for the time being. Previously, I have also communicated with Yunnan and Xia Huang. There are two plans. Xiao Hai said. Since the Sun family has come to our door, we can't sit back and do nothing. It is impossible to deal with the changes by remaining unchanged. So the first plan is that we shed all pretense of cordiality with the Sun family. We tell the media downstairs that the Sun family of real martial arts has a problem and is delusional. We don't want to sell the hotel and the place, but this is undoubtedly equivalent to shedding all pretense of cordiality with the Sun family of real martial arts. At that time, the two parties will definitely fight to the death. But does the Xiao family have the courage to go against the Sun family of real martial arts? Although Xiao Chun did fight a few disciples of the Quishan sect before, it was also because the Quishan sect could not appear in the secular world on a large scale. And there was also the mediation of the Wulin Guild. The Sun family of real martial arts did not have so many scruples. Moreover, it was said that the Sun family of real martial arts had the Sun family as a backer in the Wulin Guild. So they must be careful. Why not? What is the second plan? Xiao Chun asked disdainfully after listening. The second plan is that we reach a settlement with the Sun family and announce that the acquisition failed. Maybe the Xiao family will pay some price, but it will not affect their reputation. Xiao Hai said. Of course, they could still ignore it. But it seemed like the Sun family wouldn't let it go so easily. So there wasn't much difference between ignoring it and shedding all pretense of cordiality. In that case, the Xiao family might as well be more unyielding. Oh, in that case, tell Sun Jiajin to get lost. Acquisition. Let him go to the waste collection station. It's not suitable for him here. In Xiao Chen's opinion, the first plan was the best. Since the Sun family didn't want to do it, Xiao Chen wouldn't want to die. Originally, Xiao Chen thought that the Sun family's so-called acquisition was just a business tactic. So he didn't interfere and let Emperor Xie and the others handle it. However, he didn't expect that this guy would dare to come knocking on his door. Did he really want to die? Xiao Hai was stunned. Xiao Chen, you mean that we should adopt the first plan and deal with them forcefully? Xiao Chen you go. Martial teat shout v young ts right. Shout have the shout teat. Xiao Hai will it. He said he wants to acquire it. I think he's daydreaming. He should go home and masturbate. When Xiao Chen said this, he couldn't help but think of Tian Soran. Although Tian Suruan was a bit of a gold digger, Xiao Chen could tell that this girl was not really a gold digger after interacting with her for a period of time. She just lacked a sense of security. It probably had something to do with her family. Since she did not say anything, Xiao Chen did not ask. However, he missed her a little after not seeing her for a while. That's fine. Since that's the case, I'll reply to him now. Since Xiao Chun had already made his decision, Xiao Hai would do as he was told. In any case, in his opinion, it was all thanks to Xiao Chun that the Xiao clan could reach where it was today. Otherwise, the Xiao clan would have been finished long ago. He was hesitant before, but now with Xiao Chun's decision, Xiao Hai wasn't worried anymore. He drove directly to the company and didn't even look at Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao, who was standing on the side, was stunned. Brother, was I invisible just now? I don't know, but second uncle may have been too worried about the company and didn't see you. Xiao Chun smiled bitterly. It's okay. If my dad saw me sleeping with you, he would beat me to death. Xiao Xiao stuck out her tongue and patted her chest with a sigh of relief. It's better to beat me to death, okay? Xiao Chun continued to smile bitterly. Haha, I can't. He didn't see me. Xiao Xiao yawned. Brother, I'm going back to sleep. Who knows if he will remember it afterward. Xiao Chun didn't sleep. He was ready to put on his clothes and go to the Xiao family's company. In his opinion, the Tsin family wouldn't give up so easily. This could be seen from Tsin Wuming's character. Xiao Hai rushed to the Xiao family's company and saw that there were already several people sitting in the conference room. The person sitting in the main seat wasn't Xia Huang or Yunnan, but Tsin Jiajin. Sitting next to Tsin Jiajin was Tsin Wuming. He had come to broaden his horizons, but there was also a delinquent girl sitting next to him. This delinquent girl had served him well, so Tsin Wuming brought her along wherever he went. This delinquent girl was lucky. It was a blessing in disguise. She directly became Tsin Wuming's woman. On the other side of Tsin Jiajin, there were two assistants, Little Wang and Little Lu. Recently, they had been helping with planning and practical operations. These two people could be said to be the heroes in dealing with the Xiao family's war. Tsin Jiajin came today to acquire the company, so he didn't stand on ceremony. We are here to buy your money-losing businesses, to save you. Otherwise, with your current state of business, you will die. Tsin Wuming slammed the table and said angrily. You don't have to worry about this. However, if you don't leave, I will call the security and the media downstairs to let them see the mental patients of the Tsin family. Xiao Hai was also unhappy. Why is this Tsin Jiajin so stubborn? What's wrong with not understanding? Can't he see that my attitude is that of a falling out? And he's still so tactless, forcing me to make things difficult for him? You're courting death. Tsin Jiajin's expression changed. When had he ever been humiliated like this? Subconsciously, his aura surged and he punched Xiao Hai in front of him. Xiao Hai was only a martial artist at the peak of Stage 8 Inner Force, and this was the result of years of hard work. However, Tsin Jiajin was a martial artist at Stage 10 Inner Force. This level was already considered very powerful in the Jinwu family. The fist carried a violent aura. Obviously, Tsin Jiajin's anger was soaring, so he used all his strength. One was at Stage 10 Inner Force, and the other was at the peak of Stage 8 Inner Force. They were not on the same level at all. If Xiao Hai was hit by this punch, even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. Therefore, Xiao Hai was shocked and angry at this moment. He subconsciously retreated, but the distance between them was very close. Tsin Jiajin's speed was also very fast. Even if Xiao Hai wanted to dodge, it was not that easy. Just as he was about to be hit, a big hand reached over and slapped Tsin Jiajin's fist. Kacha! The crisp sound of bones breaking was heard. Tsin Jiajin's hand was considered crippled. Even if it recovered, it would not be the same as before. Tsin Jiajin was a martial artist, and martial artists trained the body. With such a serious injury on his fist, his strength would probably be greatly reduced. Ouch! Tsin Jiajin let out a blood-curdling scream, as he was forced to take a few steps back by the force of Xiao Chen's palm. He directly smashed through two conference tables before falling to the ground. The pain made him sweat profusely. Chapter 802. Tsin Jiajin, right? How dare you behave so atrociously in the Xiao family's territory? I think you're tired of living, aren't you? Xiao Chen sneered. Xiao Chen, how dare you hit my dad? You're digging your own grave. Let me tell you, the Tsin family isn't afraid of you now. So what if you're a devil? Tsin Wuming was shocked and enraged when he saw his father lying on the ground. He stood up and pointed at Xiao Chun as he threatened loudly. Our second priest is here. Ah, isn't this your sister? Last time, you molested your sister. And then the two of you took advantage of the situation to get together? TSK, you have such a heavy taste. Xiao Chun looked at Sun Wuming and the female delinquent beside him. Don't say such useless things. Don't leave if you have the guts. Wait for my second priest to deal with you. Sun Wuming said as he took out his phone to make a call. Oh, are you stupid? This is my family's company. Why should I leave? Where should I go? I think you're the one who should leave. Xiao Chun said faintly. Hurry up and find someone to fix your father's bones. I think he'll say goodbye to his right hand if this drags on. Oh, and he can't masturbate anymore. Sun Wu was so angry that his entire body was trembling. However, he had really been blinded by anger earlier. Only after hearing Xiao Chen's words did he remember that his father was still lying on the ground. He quickly ran over. Father, are you all right? Sun Wuming asked anxiously. Of course, before he could ask, the two assistants had already rushed over and helped Sun Jiajin up. I'm fine. Sun Jiajin was also a ruthless person. He waved his hand and said, contact the second priest and ask him to come over. Okay. When Sun Wuming heard his father say so, he picked up the phone and contacted the second priest. Second priest, bad news. My father was beaten up by that Xiao Chen brat at Xiao family's company. Please come and support him quickly. Yes, I got it. After hanging up, Sun Wuming became arrogant again. He glared at Xiao Chun and said, not bad, kid. But just you wait. When the second high priest arrives, it'll be the day you die. Oh, then I'll reluctantly let you wait here for a while. Xiao Chun nodded. He also wanted to solve the matter once and for all. He still had other things to do. Now the most important thing was to find clues about his father. Therefore, after the matter here was settled, he would go to the outer martial arts world. With his current strength, he might not be able to run amok in the martial arts world, but at least he could protect himself. There was nothing to be afraid of. Sun Wuming harumphed coldly and said, you make it sound good, but you won't even know how you died in a moment. Xiao Chun didn't even look at him. He asked Xiao Hai as if there was no one else around. Second uncle, find someone to take a look at the media downstairs, and then announce to them that our Xiao family is going to buy all of Sun family's businesses. Oh, okay. Although Xiao Hai was a little shocked by Xiao Chen's words, he still nodded and agreed. After all, Xiao Chen's identity was not ordinary now. He was the deputy director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It should not be a problem for him to suppress the Sun family of real martial arts. Of course, Xiao Hai was most worried about the outer martial arts world background behind the Sun family of real martial arts. It was a martial arts family, and the Supernatural Investigation Bureau could not interfere. However, since Xiao Chen said so, he should be full of confidence. Therefore, Xiao Hai was not worried. He directly found a company assistant and instructed him to go down to report. When Sun Jiajin and Sun Wuming heard Xiao Chen's words, they were furious. They felt that Xiao Chun was indulging in the wildest fantasies and was merely making a last-ditch effort to stir up trouble. However, before the second priest arrived, they didn't dare to say anything. After the assistant went down, he reported this explosive news to the various media outlets waiting below. In an instant, these media outlets were in an uproar. They were all dumbfounded. What happened? What was going on? Wasn't it said that the Sun family was going to buy the Xiao family's company? How did it turn into the Xiao family buying the Sun family's company? Was there any inside story in this? Mr. Zhang, you said that you represented the Xiao family to propose to buy the Sun family's hotels and stores in Songning City. Was this news decided by the Xiao Group Holdings senior management? Or is it your private information? A media finally couldn't help but ask. Hee. This question is actually very interesting. I said these words at the entrance of the Xiao Group Holdings company. Naturally, I represented the company. Otherwise, wouldn't my boss fire me? Assistant Zhang laughed. But this is different from the previous rumors. Wasn't it said that the Sun family was buying the Xiao family? Another media asked. Who said that? Assistant Zhang asked. Wasn't it said by the Tsin family themselves? This is the first time our Xiao family publicly responded to this matter. As soon as Assistant Zhang said this, everyone present reacted. Indeed, it was the Tsin family talking to themselves before, and the Xiao family didn't make any statement. Thinking of this, they all revealed a playful smile. I'm afraid there's something interesting in this. Assistant Zhang, can we go up for an interview? Another media couldn't wait to ask. I'm sorry, we can't do it now, because the negotiation of the acquisition is a trade secret. Of course, once there's a result, we will tell everyone immediately and hold a press conference. Assistant Zhang explained. Okay, then we will wait here. Some media said unwillingly. Of course. Assistant Zhang smiled. After Assistant Zhang finished speaking, he left. In the conference room, Xiao Chun listened to Assistant Zhang's report leisurely and nodded slightly. Don't worry, we can hold the press conference soon. Sun Wuming glared at Xiao Chun with some resentment, but he didn't dare to say anything. After a while, they heard laughter coming from outside the conference room's window. Then a black shadow pushed the window and entered. Who dares to make a move on our Tsin family's people? Do you want to die? The black shadow sneered, and the aura of a level 5 magic master was revealed. He looked at everyone in the conference room with disdain, and finally, his eyes stopped on Xiao Chun. In fact, he had already guessed that this person was Xiao Chun. After all, judging from the age of the people here, he was the youngest person. It could be determined from the information of Tsin Wuming previously. Alright, stop pretending. Is there any point staring at me and asking me who did it? Are you stupid or pretentious? Xiao Chun didn't care about the aura released by the black shadow, and said indifferently, You're courting death, Junior. The black shadow flew in front of Xiao Chun, stretched out his hand, and slapped at Xiao Chun. Pa! The black shadow was sent flying by Xiao Chun's slap, and fell heavily in the corner, revealing a mouthful of white teeth. Oh, not bad, you're courting death, Junior. Xiao Chun said as he clapped his hands. You're a demon general? The black shadow's eyes widened, and his face was full of disbelief. However, because his mouth was leaking air, his tone was a little unclear. Yes, that's right. Congratulations, you got it right. Xiao Chun nodded. The black shadow's face immediately turned gloomy. He wanted to say something, but he was unwilling and could only sigh. Although the Tsin family also had demon generals, the second priest, who was also the black shadow, wasn't sure if those demon generals could manage the affairs of the secular world. After all, the true martial Tsin family came here to make money, and now that they had failed, if the family still used demon generals, they would be laughed at by other families. Let's go first. The second priest finally said after a fierce struggle in his mind. Sun Jiajin and Sun Wuming were still a little confused. They really didn't expect that the second priest couldn't even withstand one move from Xiao Chun. And Xiao Chun was actually a demon general level expert. How is this possible? The Xiao family was just an ordinary secular family. How could they have a demon general level expert? That was completely impossible. Although they didn't believe it, they had to believe it. Seeing that the second priest had admitted defeat, they could only lower their heads and prepare to leave dejectedly. Wait, Xiao Chun said.